go dive right into it. I did make a little file. It's in my Discord for anyone that may want it. I'm gonna upload it eventually when I upload this to YouTube as well. But I got like a whole file with like links, and it goes on and on and on and on, and I'm still adding to it. I doubt we'll hit the bottom of everything, and even if we do, we're just gonna keep on cruising. But I tried to make a guide. So, you want to learn Lunar Magic. They got one place you gotta go, and I got it right here. SMW Central, the go-to. You finished Chateau Pink Rooms, really? Pink Rooms finally now. You just have to replay all of Chateau and make a new clear video that consolidates all the contents and changes. Nice. Oh yeah, GG's on that. I actually have not seen all of Chateau yet. I feel like a bad Knicks fan. I was watching Bucks play it a little bit the other day. I was lurking in there while I think I saw you and a couple other people, but I was lurking while doing some other stuff. But yeah, so we got Lunar Magic. You got SMW Central. So what do? You go over to Tools, you got all your stuff. We're just getting all the basics to get you all set up. And most of it's all right here. All in this Tools section. So you want Lunar Magic. Boom. Download. I'm not hitting download because I kind of already have all of this all set up fairly easily for myself, and I don't want to re-download it a million times. But we got Lunar Magic. So when you get Lunar Magic, you get honestly, what does it come without? Now you know what? We're downloading Lunar Magic right now. I have my ROM file, and it opens up the ROM with Lunar Magic. But what is in Lunar Magic? Alright. So it just comes with lunarmagic.exe and your README. First thing I like to do, if you haven't already done it, is you go into your folder with your base ROM. You want your clean base ROM. Don't touch it. Copy it. You don't want to mess up with your base ROM. I think I already made, an LM101. So this is just the base ROM, nothing fancy, and you can always hit, open with, and set it just to Lunar Magic. So now you can always double click it, and it just opens. Of course, on the wrong screen, but it opens. So now you got Lunar Magic. What else do you want? Well, I'm going to look up my tutorial guideline, and I'm going to go in order. At least try. You know what? This is kind of quiet. What we're gonna do is I'm also gonna pull up just some music on SMW Central. See if I can get some tunes in the background just to get me through. Isn't there a way to shuffle through? Yeah, radio. There we go. Does audio still sound okay? Am I clearly audible, I guess? Just want to make sure that I'm not just getting my stuff up on my other monitor, but make sure the music's not too loud. Sounds good. Perfect. So yeah, so we got Lunar Magic. The first thing I like to do is just move anything. Just move anything and save it. It doesn't matter. Just click anywhere on the screen, move something and save it. It doesn't matter what you do. I just like to have had it saved so that you can say it's been opened with Lunar Magic. The other thing I like to do is just mash all these mushroom buttons. What they do doesn't matter. Just mash them. As long as you mash them, you're good. And then the only other thing I like to do while we're here, and I already have it all set up because I, use Lunar Magic. But say you want to set up your emulator, because that's nice. Set up emulator. Now it's real nice and easy if you have SNES 9X, or if you just use just a straight up emulator. Mash mushrooms, you got it. You got it. You can see here, I'm just targeting my retroarch.exe. If you were using SNES 9X, that's all you'd have to do. RetroArch is a little bit more finicky. RetroArch, since you know there's different cores, you have to get this whole code. I don't exactly know what any of this means. I know the L means load, and I'm assuming it's loading from here, but I don't know what this %1 means. I don't argue it, I'm just telling you that's the code. You want it. It's also in that file on my Discord if you need it. You put that in, use custom command arguments, whatever. Again, I don't know what it does, but what it means now is since you have that set up, you hit F4, and just like that, here, I'm gonna have to make that a little smaller. Just like that, you have your ROM. It just pulls right up, but it always boots up exactly what you have here, so it's nice. Turn the volume a bit. I can see what I can do here for you. The best I think I can do is I can turn down my mic, or my desktop audio, and turn up my mic. I guess I can move it in a little closer too. Is that any better, Golfing? Also, I hope you're doing good today too. I'm trying to kind of keep myself on track here. This is obviously not the usual. Way better, awesome. I'm glad you can hear it. So yeah, you downloaded Lunar Magic. You've opened it. Your ROM file, that is. You opened up your clean ROM file, which you can ignore those 2 folders for right now. They weren't there a second ago. You mashed all the buttons. You set up your emulator. You moved anything and just hit save. Congrats. You're on your way. So now, like you saw here a second ago, mashing those buttons, if you hover over them, it'll let you say what they do. Quick extract, quick insert, EX. Oh god. What a music. Beautiful. Is there a way to skip this? It's not that it's a horrible song, I just don't know if I need We Are #1 all the time. Anyways. Alright, so that was Chapter 1, Part 1 in my little section here. Is we've already gotten through Part 1. So we're going to get all the tools now. Now all the tools are also available here, SMW in the Tools section. Wow, who would have thunk it? So, you know you're going to want ASAR. So ASAR, boom, right at the top. GPS, right there. I'm not hitting download on them all because I already have it all. What I'm just going to do here is I'm going to find my hack base with these, and I'm just going to copy all these folders. But these folders, either they just came with the download, or I just made a download, named it whatever the, the tool is, and then just dropped all the contents in. Destination is 52. What? Does it cancel? We're gonna redo that. I don't know what the hell just happened there. Hack with base tools. Copy. We're gonna come back and we're just gonna repaste it, and we're just gonna let it repaste over. Yep, replace all files. That's fine. So, now you have all your tools. You got your GPS, your Pixie. I'm trying to make sure I actually go over it all because I have it in my notes here, and I have all the links too. So if you download it in the Discord, you can access this file nice and easy. But yeah, so you got your ASAR, your GPS. Here, I'll let you leave it here for a sec. Pixie, Uber ASM, which I specifically get the standalone 2.0 version. You can use the version that's on here on the SMW Central, but I specifically like the 2.0 version. I think it's significantly easier to use, and I don't know why this version doesn't work, but the standalone version does. I don't ask questions. I just take it and I'll work with it. So, what else did we got? YYCHR, also in the tools section. Let's see, I'm just making sure everything is as easy as it should be. Why is it not? YYCHR. We're just gonna Google it. That's why I made the links. Yeah, Yeah, there it is. The .NET version, English/Japanese, and it says it's in the tools section. Yep. I'm gonna pretend it makes sense. Oh, there's a dash in YYCHR. Also, don't ask me what YYCHR stands for. I have no clue. It turned down my own audio just a tad bit. There we go. Let's see. So you got YYCHR, block creator, that's in the tools section. This is less needed, but I think it's useful to understand. Add music, I know that one's in the tools section. Is block creator in the tools? Block creator, yeah, block creator right there. Add music is. And flips. Flips, if you played any kind of SMW, you're probably very familiar with flips just for playing hacks, but you'll need flips for patching your thing as well, assuming you'd like to share it with somebody else and you don't want to distribute a ROM, because you know we can't do that. There's no C in music. I don't think so anyways. Add mu. Finally something you know. Yep, there's add music. And it does have a C. Never mind, I'm going to put that C right back in there. And flips. So, part 2 done. Look at that, we're flying. Part 3, getting to know Lunar Magic. So I'm just going to put this up here so I can show you all what's going on. So you have your Lunar Magic up. It always boots up to level 105. You can tell it's level 105 from right here. But it just, there might be a way to change that, but as far as I know, it's always 105. And really what level you make your levels on doesn't matter. You can change the overworld levels to be any level, so it doesn't matter. But the first thing I like to do, generally speaking, is just hit Control Delete. It's gonna ask you, do you really want to delete everything? And I'm gonna say, yeah, you want to delete everything. And it just gets rid of everything. There is nothing here except for Mario, and there's the midway entrance, which is also just Mario. It doesn't really matter. And that's it. Then it's just endless. And by default, when you're trying to click around, if you see up here, it's on layer 1 editing mode, which would be like all the bricks and things. Here, I'll actually, can I undo it? Yeah, so you can see I can grab the wall, everything, I can just move it around, but if I try to grab, like, that guy, he's not moving anywhere. The bullet bill, or that, or Mario, I'm only grabbing the blocks. Easy way, click in your middle mouse wheel, and you'll see it selects the shell. Instead, it kind of goes back and forth. There's a layer 2 in between, and I'll be honest, I've never touched layer 2 creator. So you're not getting that in this tutorial, sorry. But it does say same controls as layer 1 mode, so I assume it's very similar to layer 1, but you just gotta know you're editing layer 2. Yeah, it won't even let me click it because there's no layer 2 in this level. But yeah, now since I'm on sprite mode, you can see it's over the shell. Now if I try to grab all this, none of this will grab. But if I want to move that Koopa, I can move this over here, put Mario over there, you know. It all works. Nice and easy. So, let's go ahead and re-delete everything again. And then the first thing I like to show off is, so technically, you can add blocks like this. There's like this little window up here. It says, what is it called? The add objects window, and like, I could grab, if I scroll down, like some cement blocks, and I could be like, oh, see, right now I'm trying to hit right click to place the blocks, and it's not working, because I'm in sprite editing mode. Click that middle mouse button, look at that. Cement blocks. And you can just click it and right click it, and it'll copy paste essentially. Or if you hit delete, it'll just delete. Nah, that's how I delete objects anyways. And you can stretch it and drag it. It's all pretty intuitive. Like, I don't know what else I could tell you. It's pretty easy to go with. So we're just gonna go ahead and let's just put some blocks here. Let's go to put some blocks here and make a floor. Oh, you can see how it kind of builds it kind of overflows from the top to the bottom and it moves over a little bit. I don't exactly know how that works, but I just like to make it not overflow. And then let's go ahead and just copy paste that there. Look at that. Now we have a little area. And you could technically build most of everything you need from this little like creator window, like steep slope right. There you go. You got your steep slope right. And you could work with this, but this is not how I've seen anyone work. I only use this for like certain things, like a midway point. I use my midway point through here. Goal points also, but otherwise it's all a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot, and some of it looks kind of janky. Like right cloud fringe 2. Can I tell you what that means? Not a clue. But another way to make it look a little less janky is if you notice these buttons at the top. The second icon right here, the cloud, hide objects that do not have the right graphics files loaded. So essentially, like that one that looked janky down here, you're not going to want to use it if it's looking janky. I mean, you could. It would work exactly the same. It would just look real janky. Click that button. Now you have significantly less options, but you also will only have options that actually look like they make sense. And that's nice. They look like they're supposed to. And you know, question blocks that tell you what's inside them. All pretty standard. Now, the way I know to build, and the way I know that I've seen other people build, directly through your map 16. See here. So, map 16 is this button right here, and it looks real complicated. There's a lot of tiles here, and it goes on for a long time. You can see there's some stuff in the middle of the page that looks real graphic. That's sure. I mean, you can see there's like the background tiles. Oh yeah, see that does something. Yeah, we're not gonna mess with any of that really. We do have an ad break coming soon, just something to be aware of. But yeah, so this is your map 16. And you can see there's more blocks here that are a little more familiar. So the first thing I like to do to kind of describe this is the same thing as this other window. But this stuff has like stuff kind of pre-built for you almost. So like, you know, solid left and top edge. So you can see it's a left wall and a corner tile. That's 2 blocks put together for you. And I could drag it and it would make sense. Your map 16 is just a database of all your blocks. So these are gonna have the same things in them, but this is a little less, it gives you less control over everything. So, like, for instance, one of the first things I like to do is try to make this make more sense. So, like, I take your top tile, that's your top middle tile, you know, that's just like floor. And you can drag it and it looks like floor. I'm gonna get rid of it right now. And all of these are just blank tiles. They are just unused tiles. You could put whatever you want in any of this space. It will not affect anything else in the game. As far as I know. Anything I say, if I think I know it, I might not know it 100%, but as far as I know, it will not affect anything. So what I like to do is take my top middle tile, put it right there. Then I'm going to find my top left tile, which I think is, I don't think it's that. There it is, top left. And then we're going to find the top right. Yep, right there. We got our left and our right wall tiles. I need the background, which I think is right here. Yeah, look at that. And see how this is starting to make sense. And you can also, like, grab multiple blocks at once. So, like, I could grab all of those and right-click and now just paste them all. And see, now we have a coherent, like, shape. And you could technically, like, click and drag and you could post that whole shape right here. But see, I could take that tile and the one right above it, and those two look the same. But this is made out of two separate tiles, and this is one single tile. And see, it makes it a lot easier to like kind of click around, drag, move things where you want. Or let's say you want to change something about this tile, it's more rigid, and this is less rigid. It's much more easier to work with. But otherwise, functionally, they're the same. So, what do we do with that? Let me just refer back to the good old handy-dandy list. So we have shown off the add objects, and we showed off the map 16 editor. That's this. Oh, and make sure to always hit save whenever you're done with your map 16, because you can notice there's two different saves. If I were to boot into my ROM without saving, everything that I put down here would still look like all these tiles. So, from here, in theory, we could just hit run, and we're gonna go ahead and I just hit the game in like hyper speed or whatever. Come on, there we go. And then the first thing I like to do is you can set a save state on the overworld, and as long as you're not changing the overworld, you can load that save state, and generally, at least, it should always work. Even if you update the level, you can load the save state into the world, and you should be good. So 105, I believe that's this level? Oh, see, this is what I mean. If you look up here, I didn't hit save. So we're gonna hit save. We're gonna hit F4 one more time for loading up, and then at least with RetroArch, F4 is also the button to load save state. So now I can load my save state back to Yoshi's house. I'm gonna go in Yoshi's Island, and look at that. We put blocks down, and there are blocks down. We've made a level. It's such a great level. I hope you're enthused. This is the content you're here for. A pit you can't jump down. You can't die. You can't win. But it's a level. So, what next does the handy dandy guide point us to next? Adding sprites? Sure. Same concept. Add objects window. Add sprites window. Just gotta make sure you're in that shell mode, so that way you can add sprites. And now you can select any sprite in here, but similarly to the graphics, if you go down into the list far enough, yeah, green vertical net Koopa, that doesn't look right. Magic Koopa, that doesn't look right. So just check that. Make your life easy, check that. You have significantly less options, but now everything looks like it's supposed to. Bonsai Bill, look at that, you got a Bonsai Bill. You want to put a Rex down? We could put a Rex down. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Not too much to go over in that section, thankfully. We already mashed the mushroom boxes. We are one step ahead there. Palette description, I can show you a brief description of the palette, at least. So that's this little rainbow star up here. You want to click that, and it pulls up this whole thing. And all the instruction, or all the hotkeys and stuff are all down here. I'll go into them in a bit more detail later. But I like to kind of go over things maybe after you have built a bunch of stuff, or, well, I guess it depends. If you're using a palette for like a specific background, you'll want to do that with the background. We'll get to that when we get to backgrounds. But like, you could see, I could change the background, and you can see how it changes. It affects everything. I could also like make a little gradient if I wanted to go boom, boom, and then go. Oh, if I hit the right buttons, that is. Look at that. It all looks like it's making sense. But we're gonna go ahead and we're not gonna save any changes to the palette. I just wanted to show you that's where the palette is. Here's where your colors are. We'll come back to touch on what the palette, what number, or what like rows mean stuff. 8 and 16 at the same time and change the blanks through both. So, just to double check what you mean. 8 and 16. So, I haven't even touched on this, the 8x8 tile editor, so... are you talking about this window? But the answer to that is you can have both open, but it's only gonna do one thing. So, like, even though I have that selected, in the sprite mode, change it back to tile mode, even though I have that selected here, because this window's open, I think this one takes priority, so it places that block. Which, by the way, if you see me undoing and redoing fast, Control-Z, Control-Y, it all your usual Windows hotkeys, they work for, you know, all your usual stuff. But yes, please do ask away if anyone has any questions. Oh, yeah. So that's this window where it has all the stuff already kind of into it. And yeah, you can have them both open, but like I said, this one usually, I'm pretty sure, always takes priority. So even if I come over here, it's always gonna place that one. So, and I undid that on accident. Which, I mean, that's not a problem. You can go back and forth. Personally, I like to build out of the map 16, and that's what I see most people use, but there's nothing that's stopping you from using this. If this add objects window works for you, go for it. Yeah, let's see what else I got here in the list. Let's refer back. Loosely over each of the buttons at the top. Alright, yeah, let's do that. Let's just loosely touch over the two buttons. So we talked about layer 1 editing. Talked about layer 2, layer 3, or not layer 3, sprite editing. We got your add objects, your add sprites, your 8x8 editor window, which I'll be honest, I don't know too much about this, and we'll touch on the 8x8 a little bit more. I know, or we'll touch on it a little more later, but it makes more sense to look at it through here, where you can see these two are the same thing. They both say 8x8 tiles, well, one's editor and one's selector. But they're otherwise, you can tell, pretty the same. But we'll, like I said, we'll touch on that later. No worries. Your map 16 is map 16. Background and layer 2 editor. So this is how, like, if I wanted to add more clouds, I could just add a bunch of clouds. I'm gonna undo all that because I don't want that. But that's just general background editing. Layer 3, which, I'll be honest, I don't know much about layer 3, and that opened up a whole nother thing. We're not gonna touch on layer 3 too much. You can just ignore that button. The overworld editor. We're actually gonna... It usually opens to this screen. It only opened to the other screen because I clicked layer 3 editor first. But if you click this little, like, save looking button, it'll reload everything and discard any unsaved changes, and it'll bring you back to the main, like, screen. And as you can see, this is just the whole overworld for Mario. And you can hold control and scroll to zoom in. And you can see, like, here is, you know, here's your Yoshi Island or whatever. There where you start, and you can just click and kind of drag things, and we're not going to touch on it too much. But this is the overworld editor. If you were smart, there's a whole bunch of new buttons up here, editing modes, and all kinds of things. Like I said, we'll touch on the overworld a little bit later. Overworld stuff is kind of difficult to do. Palette editor, we got that. This is just a zoom. You can manually change your zoom. I've never used this button once in my life. If I really want to zoom, you can control scroll in and out. So yeah, I don't know why you do that. Although I guess I can go back to a... Oh god. I'm not doing that. Yeah, there we go. Your animations, which right now we actually can't see much, but like, let's see, I clicked a piranha plant. Let's just put a couple piranha plants down, and you can see they're moving. They're having a good old time. If I click that, it'll turn off all the animations, just so that they're not moving. I don't know why you would do that, but maybe the movement's distracting while you're building a level. So you turn it off. I don't know. Your mushrooms, we kind of went over these. You're not going to need them too much for like anything other than just mashing them all at once, and other than that, you really don't need to know much more. Here's your graphics. What does it say when you mouse over it, actually? It calls it Super GFX Bypass. We'll touch on this again a little bit more later, but here's where all your graphics for each level is loaded. Because you can only have certain graphics loaded at certain times. This box, again, I honestly don't know too much about the FGBG GFX. I could pretend to know much more about this, but honestly, I don't use that box almost ever. This is for layer 3 graphics. Again, if you're doing layer 3 stuff, you'll need it. If you're not, you're probably not even going to touch this box. Modify screen exits. This just lets you choose like how you go from one level. Like if you go in a pipe and you come out somewhere else, this lets you choose where you go. It's the exit from the screen. Technically, when you select it, if you hit F1, here, let me scroll out a little. There you go. Hit F1 while you're on Lunar Magic. You can see it pulls up all of these, and these are all the screens. So, like, if I were to set, you can see 0 is currently not set. Let's say I wanted level 0 or screen 0 to go to level. We're already in 105, but let's say I set it to 105. Anyways. And then we placed a door. Just a single door tile for Mario. So now you can see, because I changed it here to 105 on screen 0, now screen 0 says exit to level 105. And if we save, hit F4, I'm going to go ahead and just reload my save state, go back into level 105. Here's my door, here's my munchers. And let's go ahead and go in the door. Wow. We're done. What a level. You go in the door and it brings you back. 255 glitch level complete. See, I don't even know nothing about that Nix. 255 isn't a level. What you talk about? But yeah, exactly. I'm gonna, oh god. I guess I kind of skipped over these buttons. I started here. This button is your open level number. So we're going to go back to level 105 and just hit OK. And now we're back. Gonna hit F1. I'm just going to take this and we're just going to clear all the screens. That just gets rid of that. If you enter the door leading to the same level enough times, you'll get wrong warp because of the limits to the counting. Oh! See, Nick's over here teaching me things. Pipe or door, yeah, just assume any level transition. And if you were to try to save this right now, I would get this big warning. And all this is really telling me is that there is an object that's supposed to lead you somewhere, but right now it's not leading you anywhere. So like my door, it doesn't have anywhere set to take me, so it gives me an error. And honestly, if you were to try to go in it, I have no clue what would happen. But if I got rid of that door, hit save again, everything's fine. Alright. So modify main and midway entrance dialogues. So over here we have a lot of stuff. And honestly, I don't know what most of this stuff is used for. The only thing I've really used this part for is you want to make sure you have use separate settings for midway entrance enabled. I don't exactly know too much about it. All I know is that when you have that checked, it makes it so you can use like fast retry, and everyone wants that. Otherwise, the only thing I ever focus on in this entire box is this bottom portion right here, where you can see Mario action. Right now it says do nothing, cannot bring item. If I were to change that to like horizontal pipe, exit right, and then hit OK, you can see now Mario looks like he's running to the right. It's because if I were to load into the level right now, go ahead and do it just to show off. He's gonna load in while moving to the right, as if he just came out of a pipe. So like if I wanted him to come out of a pipe, I would just put the pipe underneath Mario, and he would spawn here and just move one tile out. Makes sense. Although we're gonna change it back to do nothing. There's a couple other options here, like vertical exit down, water level. I don't exactly know too much about that. Do nothing slippery level. I imagine if you're making an ice physics level, you'd want that. But to be honest, I haven't messed with ice physics yet. And there's also these things here for like face left direction. I assume that would make Mario, yep, face left. Wow. Make this level a water level. Because if you don't check this, you can make all the sprites water sprites. You can put all the stuff in that you would put in a water level. But if you don't check this box, it's not a water level. Mario cannot swim. Same thing with slippery level. You put this on, now everything is ice physics. To uncheck it, everything's normal. And congrats, you're done with this box. This little section all down here, and use separate midway. That's all you need to know. Modify secondary entrances. That's the next thing here. Again, I don't use this button at all. I know nothing about this. I'm sure there's very useful things for it. I'm sure there are. Someone could tell you about them. That someone's not me. So, moving next. Scan level for undefined exits, which is just going to tell you that all exits are good, but that's the same kind of thing. If I were to put down that door again, where did I have that? If I were to put down the door again, and now hit this, since I didn't define the exit through here, you click this, and it's going to tell you, oh, you got that error, because there's a door that's supposed to lead you somewhere, but it's not set to lead anywhere. Really, is it set number or just kind of... Sorry, is what a set number? I probably moved on while you were typing. Just clicking through things a little bit. The door loop. Oh. I'm gonna guess 255 times based on Nix's comment, but having not known about that till right now, I don't have the answer for that. And then here, oh yeah, so this button right here is the same as hitting F1. View screen exits, F1. Same thing. Change properties. Again, I don't know too much about this. The only thing I really use this screen for is changing your vertical scroll. So like this one, you have it set right now to no vertical scroll at bottom unless flying. You could also have it vertical scroll at will, so that way if I want to move around, the screen will follow Mario. Unless you do like frame perfect jumps, and I think if you jump off a sprite, it doesn't. You'll need to get like special blocks and things, or like a special patch to fix it, to make it like actually follow Mario. Or more easily yet, just set it to no vertical scroll. Just make it one screen tile, high level. You'll make your life easier. The number of screens and stuff, you don't gotta worry about any of this. Properties and sprite headers, I have almost never used this. The only time I've used this box is for enable sprite buoyancy. Similar to the other section over here, where like I said you could make everything a water level, but if you don't tick this, it's not a water level. Well, you could do everything that you want to put in a water level. You could tick that box, but if you don't tick this box, then sprites don't act like they're in water. Conversely, that's how you can make the levels that are like, everything else acts like it's in water, but Mario isn't. If you don't check that first box, but you do check this, all the sprites will act like they're in water and slow down and stuff. But Mario will not. Let's see what's next. The other properties, the only thing I use this box for at all is for, I mean, you could change your background scrolling rate, which honestly I don't ever change because I don't know too much about the scrolling rates. And then this disable no Yoshi level intro. is pretty convenient. It's just like whenever you you go into a castle level, you know how Mario like kind of walks into the castle and then stands in front of the door, and then you get control of Mario after he's went in. So it's kind of like a mini cutscene. So if you were to click this, it would disable that screen. So just you could use that level number, and it wouldn't automatically like play that little like thing. You would just spawn where you want to be. That's a vanilla mechanic. You would have thought that was a custom tool for the physics for sprite stuff. Yeah, exactly. There might be custom tools to edit it a little bit more, but yeah, like if I wanted to make a water level, like immediately I could, or make it so like Mario doesn't interact, but sprites do. Let's just place down like, where's a shell? I know there's a shell here. We'll place a shell. We'll change back. And then let's go ahead and kick this. Hit save. And let's just go ahead and take a look at it. So, you can see I'm moving normal. Everything's fine. Oh. See, that one didn't do it. But we'll go back. We'll go ahead and hit this. To say there's an Sprite Buoyancy 2. I don't honestly know too much, but we're just gonna check the second one. We'll hit save. Reload again. Come back into the level. I'm good. Huh. I could have sworn that was gonna work. I'm just gonna look at this now for a second. Now I'm like, what? We'll make it a water level. Apparently this is learning hours for me as well. It's fine. So yeah, now you can see Mario swimming. The sprite's acting like it's in water now. So maybe it does need to have some custom ASM to make it so Mario's not swimming. The more you know. But yeah, we're gonna go and turn off the water. We'll turn off the sprite buoyancy stuff. Layer 3 settings, don't need to mess around with too much unless you're doing with layer 3 stuff, which we can touch that later. Change the music. This just changes, like if I want to change the timing, I could be like, I want the time to be 69, well you can't do 4 digits, but if I could do 69.6 time, that's a nice time. That's the time I want this game level to be at now. Then I could be like, let's make it castle music. Go ahead and hit save. We'll just get right back to it. I'm actually gonna make the save state right on the level. And then let's can I mute this for a sec? I don't hear my game music. Oh, it's playing, I just don't hear it. It's fine. There it goes. Yeah, I can hear it now. So yeah, music's correct, and you can see the timer. It's at 661 now, but you know, you could see that was all set correctly. This is X animation stuff. So this is if you want to animate blocks and tiles and things. We'll go over that later, probably in like 3 more episodes, because that's hard. And then animation settings, in case you want to like, pretty much is straightforward. Enable game's original global tile animations and original game palette animations, and then Lunar Magic's global and level animations. You don't generally need to mess with that too much, but there's probably a rare occasion where, like, if I were to open up my palette right now, you could see there's this color right here that's kind of like used for coins and things that make it so see, is it, yeah, like the Yoshi coin, you could see right here that it's blinking kind of like that color is. And if I were to come over here and turn off game's palette animations, now it's just gonna look kind of static and gross. why you need to do that. There's probably a reason. I don't know it. Hoping to make something this coming winter for the first time, so this is great. Hell yeah. My goal is to make it just so it's a little more user-friendly, or I mean not user-friendly, I'm not changing how it works, but I just want to make it so there's more resources available. So, we briefly touched the overworld, we briefly went over everything else. Yeah, let's just throw in some stuff as a quick wrap up, but just so I could say we built something else. Like, let's say we want this to be that tile. So that way when we can just drag it on over, let's go ahead and place the corner. We'll just drag it on over, put the wall down, and then we'll take the center tile and just drag it all just to fill in the space. And then you can also do things like, I could highlight all of this and right click and it'll copy paste it. So let's say I want to like come over here, but then I want to round off the edge on this side. And then, I don't know, we'll place a couple blocks and we'll place a muncher there. Wow, it's a level. Congrats. We can load our level and everything looks like it does. You got a shell, you got... everything is as it should. We don't have any like custom anything else going on, so it's still vanilla retry, it's all that, but we got a level. It's technically made, and it's loading as it should. The only other important hotkey that I like to kind of mention at this time before I forget it is F3. I know I haven't written this down anywhere in my like tutorial guide. Where did that go, by the way? Isn't there a... We're just gonna go... I'm gonna open a new tab here. Downloads, up a file. I know it's in my documents. Don't mind that's already almost full. Documents. And then I know I saved it down here. Lunar Magic Guideline. So, we've got our tools. We've gone on to chapter 2, getting more complicated. So, with the tools I've given you right now, you can make a vanilla level, entirely vanilla, with no custom anything, and you have all the tools necessarily to do it. You could just go out and build it right now. Oh, F3. Sorry, let me go back. F3. It pulls up this box up in this top left, and it looks all jank, and I don't know what all these lines in it necessarily mean, and you can't just drag it, but if you hit Alt and then click, you can drag it anywhere, and this is the screen boundaries. This is as far as your screen can see. So like, I could see here, if I were to place blocks up here, we can go ahead and take a look, and you can see that just the edge of it's visible, but almost nothing else is. Just throw that there for aesthetics. And you can kind of drag it. And if you want these lines to go away, because it has something to do with, like, I think Mario will move up to this green line when he's moving right, or something like that, or maybe it's this line. I don't exactly know how these lines work, but they're not super relevant. You can also hit Alt F3, and that gets rid of those lines. You don't need to worry about it. You just got this red box, and you can see exactly what's loaded. Now, again, I'll show it in here. We'll go ahead and load in, go into the level, and you can see you cannot see the top tile at all, like I said, but you can see this one, which is right below it. But the blocks are there. You can... Oh! I was gonna say, here, let's respawn that real quick. You can tell that the tile's there, though, because that blocks, or the shell falls down instead of just going up infinitely. Whereas if I was over here, it goes up and falls down. Okay. So, part 2, or chapter 2, we're gonna use Uber ASM with Lunar Magic in order to get Uber ASM, or in order to get fast retry. So, the fast retry that everyone uses right now, at least as far as I can tell, has usually been this Kevin M file. So we're gonna go ahead and open that up. And I'm sure that you could, there's a lot of stuff here. I don't use GitHub for much, but all I know is go over here, download that zip. We're just gonna save it. Go ahead and open it with your 7-zip or whatever you use. Retry system master. So, most things, thankfully, come with like a readme or how to insert, how to remove, you know, all this. Most things don't come with how to remove, but most of them come with at least a readme and an insert. And thankfully, it's pretty easy to follow along, which is exactly what I'm gonna have us do. So we're gonna look, how are you supposed to insert this? So, we're gonna go into our Uber ASM folder, which comes with all of this. This is just all the files that come with that Uber ASM that I linked earlier. So, first it says copy the ASM library retry ASM file into Uber ASM tools library folder. So we're gonna open the library folder. We're gonna go to our 7-zip that I just downloaded. And it said to put, let's see here again, ASM, so we're gonna go in that, library, retry ASM. So, put it in the library folder. Wow, we're doing. Oh, sorry, let me go back to your messages here, Golfing. Can Mario interact with stuff up there? Yes, Mario could interact with stuff up there, and I think if I were to, like, build, like, a staircase, let's try to do something like this. I think you could still go up there, but since I have the screen set to, where was it? Set here. I can never remember which ones these are. I click around them so often. No vertical scroll. Because I have no vertical scroll enabled, cancel. Save. Now if I were to open it, we can go ahead and go up our staircase. Oh. There we go. And you can see I'm up here. I'm moving, obviously. But the camera doesn't move. If I change that camera to movement to being, like, the same thing, but let's say I changed it to vertical scroll at will. Now, you can see as I'm going up these, the camera's moving with me. And then, you know, here we are. Personally, I don't like working with the camera movement too much, just because that's really difficult to, like... It's hard to try to, like... Because the camera moves with little increments depending on, like, what steps you're on, and if there was a sprite. So, like, let's say we put a flying Koopa that was moving up and down right here. If I were to jump off of it and go up, the screen wouldn't go up until after you landed, I think, or something like that. So it's kind of jank. There are patches to work around that, and there are blocks that you could put that'll make it so the camera will follow Mario as long as you're, like, in that block. So, like, there's fixes for that, but generally speaking, if you just make, like, a one tile or one, like, screen high level, you just don't need to worry about that. Alright, let's go no vertical scroll. That's how people make secret exits you can't see. Ah, yes, and there's another way, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So anyways, back to Uber ASM, because I want fast retry. I don't know about all of you. I like being able to move, or to respond fast. So we're going to go and open our text document with how to insert. We did the retry ASM file into the library folder. So let's go and open 7-zip again. Let's go back a couple folders. And then it says copy all the files inside ASM/game mode into the game Uber ASM's game mode folder. So we're going to go over here and we're just going to copy all these in. What do they all do? Don't worry about it. Not my problem. All I listen to the insert, it works. You listen to the insert, it works. Then let's see, copy the ASM retry config folder. So it's like, where's that? Go back. Oh yeah, right there. And it does say that it's inside ASM/retry config. So copy the ASM retry config folder. Oh, and then this just goes into the top folder. So it says in the same file as like level and game mode. So we're gonna go back. 7-zip. So we're gonna take that whole retry config, which is just all of this. We're not gonna worry about pasting any of it. We're just gonna copy it and just paste it right here into the main folder. So let's see, we did that. It says copy this inside Uber ASM's list.txt under game mode. So it sounds complicated, it's not. So what we're gonna do is here, we're gonna open, there's the list.txt. We're gonna open it up. And it says to copy this. So we're gonna copy it under game mode. So look at this, oh, there's game mode. So we're just gonna hit, I like to put an enter just for space, and paste. And the only other thing I like to do here while we're here to make it easier on us is we're gonna copy the path for our level. So let's just rename this, you can name it anything, but I'm just gonna name it like Lunar Magic 101, LM 101. So now we're gonna take our whole, like, you know, path for it. We're gonna scroll down to the, not how to insert, damn it, I can press buttons. Here we are, the list.txt file, we just copied this code in. At the bottom here, you can see where it says, or is it, sorry, the top-ish, ROM file to use. So I believe we just want to copy and paste that. And then add, and then we named it lm101.smc. And I think you need parentheses around all of this. Or quotation marks, whatever. I know things are. And that just means that it can find our ROM. You can do it other ways without having to do that, but like this way just makes it much easier. So we're gonna go ahead and save. We have done what the ASM, let's see, where is our first notepad? For how to insert, we have followed that up to there. And then up through here is just, you know, run. It says to make sure you've edited one level in Lunar Magic. We've done that. Run Uber ASM. And then if you want to change settings, open retry config / settings ASM and make the edits you want. So first things first, we're just going to go ahead and close out of that now. We'll go back to our Uber ASM folder. And then now we should just be able to double click this Uber ASM tool and it should just run. What did you find at line 8, column 80? What did I possibly do? So, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna open it up back up in here. Oh, not our list.t. Is it list.txt? Sorry, now I'm unsure. Yeah, list, and that was line 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe I didn't need the parentheses. Maybe I'm nuts. So I just hit Control S to save, and now we'll rerun the tool again. There we go. And now you can see it's doing things. It just did a bunch of code, and it tells you all the code it ran, like retry gm03.asm. All you really need to know, all code inserted successfully. And in theory, if I wanted to be extra safe and good, what I would have done here is I would have made a copy and paste of this and just been like, name it like pre-patch or something. Just that way you have a backup. I didn't even consider it because this is such a bare file, but that would be a good base. So, we could just test that right as is, but it did say the settings were in... Where was that here? Retry config and settings ASM. So let's just go ahead and take a look at it. So retry config, settings ASM. And ASM's by default, I believe, just open with like your text editor. You can get like I could open the same thing. I do have Visual Code, Studio Code, whatever, and that would open it up here. Oop, and it's the same thing. It doesn't make a difference. Oh, get out of here, new version. What you would look at it with. And it's all pretty clear. Like, you can see all the green stuff here is just, it's not doing code, it just describes the code. So, like, right now it says default prompt type 1. 1 is prompt will play on death and sound effects and the music, but the music won't be interrupted. Versus 0 would be a vanilla, play the vanilla death song. Oh no, that's retry and play the vanilla death song. 3 is vanilla. And 2 is instant retry, no prompt, and play the sound effect. Yeah, this one says it acts like yes is chosen automatically, so it would just automatically respawn you. So like, let's make our starting lives 69. That's nice, right? Here's like midway bout power-ups. This is how you make it so like your midways don't give you power-ups. This does it automatically. It comes with the ASM for fast retry. This stuff will like make it so like your Yoshi isn't saved between levels, your power-up isn't saved between levels. You can make it so coins aren't saved, bonus stars, score, you know. All these things generally don't matter too much, but if you're making something where it does matter, the options are here. And like you can make level transitions faster. That's what it says there. Fix sprite thing. The retry patch comes with a lot more stuff. So like there's a lot of things here. Like I can disable the hurry up music. So like that way when it's under 100 tempo or under 100 time, it's not going to start playing that. Pipe entrance freezes. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff down here. And there's even more settings too, like throughout the like files, but that's all you really need to know. And since we did change it, we're gonna go ahead and rerun the Uber ASM tool, which again you can see it just ran. I wish it would put it on the right monitor, but it puts it on my top monitor so you don't get to see it at first. But it just runs. I just double click it, it just runs. And then now it automatically, I believe. Oh, couldn't open the ROM for writing. That's fine. We're just going to exit out of this for a second. It doesn't matter what got saved or what didn't. It's just because I renamed it while we had it open. That was what was confusing it. But yeah, now you can see we're back. Oh god, that's a loud song. Sorry about that if it's been loud for a while. I hope not. But yeah, you can see now everything looks normal. We'll go ahead and... Oh, failed to load state. Sometimes it does that. So we're just going to fast forward through this. You can see my 69 lives next to Mario, so that's a good start. We'll turn off this. We'll go ahead and save state again, so we have that. Enter in the level. So we have 69 lives. Our shell's here. We're here. The rest of the level looks and acts normal. This is before we fix vertical scroll, but that's fine. And now if I jump on the munchers, we have a retry prompt. Would you look at that? You have your first ASM put in the game. Congrats. Congratulations, you did it. Alright. So, and with that, we have part 1 of chapter 2. We have inserted your ASM and your list.txt. And there's more codes you can use with Uber ASM, but most of them work the same way, if not easier. Like most things in your Uber ASM, all you're gonna need to do is put your ASM in your level folder, and then when you go into your list.txt, you'll go to your level section, and you'll give it like, let's say like this is level 105, so we'd say 105, and then you type in the name of your ASM, and that's it. And you'd save and run, and it would look for this ASM, and it would insert it into level 105. But we don't have an ASM there, so we don't need to worry about that. But that's just how you would do it. It's usually a lot simpler than, you know, this long nonsense code. Fast retry does take a little bit of effort, but like it's mostly pretty easy. Fast retry, the greatest gift given to the players. It really is. The next thing we can see here, we got part 2, patch out the status bar with ASAR. So, like you could tell, we still had our status bar up there with the score and lives and all that. So in order to get rid of that, we're going to go ahead and click this link. It's going to pull up remove status bar. And you could find this just if you went to, I think it's under patches. Yeah, SMW patches. It would just be under there. And you could scroll through. There's a butt ton of patches. 15 pages of patches. But all I'm showing off right now is remove status bar. So we'll go ahead and download it. It says 2 because I've saved it, or I've already downloaded it in the past. Go ahead and open it in 7-zip. Go ahead and just get rid of that tab and this tab. I don't need that one either. So, it's just nuke statusbar.asm. So it's another ASM file, but like I said, this one goes in with ASAR, and ASAR is a patch. So Uber ASM affects each level, except for like the fast retry, goes through all of them. So like it can affect multiple levels, but ASAR is a patch that affects just the whole ROM as a whole. The GOAT. Also, welcome in, Shanti. Hope you're doing all right. We're trying to stay on some sort of a track, but ADHD is a hell of a thing. So what I like to do here is inside my ASAR, I like to make a patches folder. This isn't required at all. You could drag your patches literally anywhere, but I like to put my patches in a patches folder. It just seems to make sense for me. You could open this, and it does tell you some things, like let's see here. 1 enables the coin counter. Just internally, you can't see it. And there's some code stuff. Yep, you don't really need to mess with any of this. If you're smart, this code could mean something to you. Don't worry about it. You don't need it. All you need is that you need to know that you have nuke status bar saved. So we're going to go ahead and open ASAR, which is going to open up a window that looks kind of like this. And it says enter patch name. So what I do first, just go into your patches folder and just drag it right in. See how that just puts it in there for you? Enter. Enter ROM name. And guess what I'm going to do here? I'm just going to go back a couple. I'm going to click it. I'm going to drag it. Looks right. Enter. So I don't know what this error means. I have asked a bucket for help in the past and what this means. I haven't gotten an answer. But what I do know is you can just enter it anyways. And it says, are you sure you want to enter it? And I say, yeah, I do. And it says, cool. So now, we'll go ahead and, I like to reopen it. I think technically you don't need to reopen your file. It should just work. But I'm going to go ahead and reopen it. We're going to reload our file. We'll go back in and look at that. Same level. It's still here, but no status bar. No power up, no timer. Just don't need to worry about that at all. So it works very similarly to Uber ASM, but you don't need to set up a .txt. You just kind of just put your stuff in there and then just run it. If there's any questions about that, definitely go ahead and let me know. But again, the only thing I didn't do here that I should have done is, again, just make a copy, make a paste, and I just like to have a backup, because sometimes things corrupt. I've had that happen, and when that happens, you lose a lot of stuff. So having a copy is nice. If you put two things that have a org to the same address, it funky wonkies your ROM is basically what you have to know if you don't code. Good to know. I didn't know that. Yeah, we already did that, and we don't need that anymore. So let's go ahead and just open up Lunar Magic again, so I have that window up. So we have patched out the status bar, and we have fast retry. Congrats. Well, now let's say we want custom music. Everyone wants custom music, right? So we're going to go ahead and go into custom music, and I don't want to spend ages looking through the 170 pages of songs that have been ported. People have done the work for us. I'm just going to go ahead and organize them by download by clicking that top button. And we'll go ahead and... Oh, we want Megalovania. I think we want Megalovania as our music. Also, the GOAT, Louis. So we're going to go ahead and download Undertale, Megalovania. Same kind of thing as always, just download it, open it up a 7-zip. So, oh good, this is a good example too. I was hoping I would get a good example, because if a song doesn't use samples or anything, all you would do is well, you'd skip a step, but here we don't need to do that. I get to show off all the fun stuff. So, we're back in our Lunar Magic tutorial. We're going to go into our add music. And then what I like to do here is make another folder, just because I like to keep track of everything and I get lost in everything always. So I'm going to name it custom music files. And then that way, if you had multiple songs in your hack, you can make another folder here. I'm going to call this one Megalovania. I probably misspelled that. Don't worry about it. Doesn't even matter. And we're just going to copy the entire contents into here, just so we have them in case something happens anywhere down the line. You're like, what song was that? Where did this file come from? It's all right here. So, first things first, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take the text document, and then there's another one right here that has like a certificate, and we're just going to copy them. And we're going to put that into the music folder. Makes sense. The music goes in the music folder. Next, here, I'll go ahead and I'm going to open this in another tab, make it easier so we don't need to jump around. We're going to take the samples, because these are all the sample groups, or the samples that the sample group is going to pull from. We're going to take that whole folder, and we're going to put it in... There's supposed to be a samples folder. Am I nuts here? Yes, samples. We're just going to put the whole folder in there. And then, if it was vanilla samples and things like that, it would be able to work pretty easily just like that. But because it's not, where it says put this into sample groups, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this entire folder. Sorry, I just opened it up. and just copy all the text. Doesn't even matter. We don't need that anymore. We copied the text. And it said in the sample groups. So here's our sample groups file it just said. Here's the file it opened. And now we're just going to go to the very bottom. Hit enter to start a new line. I like to give it a second space. It doesn't need it, but it just makes it look nicer. And there you go. Just paste it and save. All the hard work is now done. And technically, you could run this add music application, and it looks kind of like everything else. But it says to enter your ROM name, and it doesn't work quite as well. I like the GUI, So you go over to here to AMK GUI. It's the exact same thing, but you get this nice little GUI. Oh, sorry, we skipped a step. We skipped a step, and that's important. Music. Remember that right here where it says bad time? That's the name of the track, quote unquote. We're going to hit Control-C to copy. We're going to go back a folder. We don't need that anymore. We're going to go into... There should be a... Add music list. There we go. And you can see here, there's all the music in the game. But let's go ahead and give it an extra space. So this is just saying essentially like track 28, according to according to the music add-on thing. Loads from originals, which is inside the music folder, and then loads 40 cast list, which is just that's the credits song, I believe. So it's saying that whenever it would play track 28, it pulls from that file. So we're going to go ahead and make a new one, just say track 30, and we're going to name it the name of the file that we put in there, .txt. Save. Now we've done all the hard work. So we're going to reopen that GUI, and you can tell immediately that it's kind of working, because if you scroll down here, you can see there's 30 badtime.txt, the same one I just put in there. So go ahead and hit run. It's going to say select your ROM. So we're going to go ahead and just go back a file, back to where we were, select our ROM, hit open, and then it's going to do its thing. And here it pops this up. It says, it all worked. It kind of just tells you all the things about like music track length, and really you can kind of ignore all of this and just scroll to the bottom and you can see success, and you can see at the very end there it says badtime.txt, letting you know that it indeed loaded it. So now let's go ahead and reopen our ROM because it doesn't have the file in the one we just had. So we reopen it. Go back to our change music. You'll have to make sure to hit this bypass the music setting. And then if we scroll down, you can see down here that we get track 30, Megalovania. So we'll go ahead and hit save, just to save. And I want to change the vertical scroll to no vertical scroll again. I don't like vertical scroll. And then we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to delete a couple of these things. Now I'm going to mute this music for a sec. It's playing. So that way you can see here. We'll load our save state, go into our level. I have no idea what happened. Do you see, this is one of the reasons why I say to make save state, or to make copies. I may have broken something, and I don't know what, and if that's the case, we'll find out in a minute. Every once in a while, I like to go ahead and just reload in, just in case. Yep, see, that fixed it. And now we got Megalovania. And thankfully, we didn't lose everything. And you see, if we die, the music doesn't stop. And because we got the samples working, everything is working exactly as intended. So now we have we have no retry, or we fast retry. We have no status bar. And we have a custom music that uses custom samples and sample groups and all of that. Alright. Any other questions on this, by the way? If anyone has any questions, please feel free to insert them. I am but a slave to your questions. Go ahead and unmute this again. So next, part 4, GPS and blocks versus graphics. Might have to watch the VOD half a dozen times. Yeah, exactly. It just takes, there's a lot of stuff. And I'm trying to like make sure I don't just like mindlessly do it because I'm so used to it. but like there's a lot. And I will upload it to YouTube, like I said. Ideally, I'd like to break it into like each chapter in chunks, but I don't. We'll see what happens. It's gonna end up on YouTube, at least in one long video. But yeah, I want to describe the difference before we start as blocks versus graphics, because that took me ages to understand for whatever reason. So, for reference, like these are all blocks. This right here is technically a block. I can place that. That's in here. And if you were to mouse over it, it tells you what it is. It says acting as a gray cement block. The same thing as when I mouse over this. So, for instance, you could tell this has no graphics. This has graphics. As far as the game loads, they are the same exact thing. So it can throw any graphics over it. Like I could take this on-off switch, throw it here, and the act as value is what determines what it acts as, and 130 is cement block. We'll go over that in a little more detail later, but so now I could place this on-off block, which is right here. And if I were to go ahead and go in the level, let's go ahead and place a real on-off block next to it too. Oh, sorry, I didn't make a reload of the state. I got to go ahead and make a resave state just so I don't, whatever corrupted, I gotta fix that. Save state. We're good. So you can see now, we hit this button, the quote-unquote graphics are updating for the other block. But I can hit this, and as far as the game is concerned, this block is a cement block. The graphics might change, but it's a cement block. So that's kind of what I'm trying to describe, where I mean blocks and graphics are different. So just because you download the block for something, doesn't mean that the graphics are going to be there. Or vice versa. So, let's go and open up our handy dandy. I lost it again. I don't know why it's so hard for me just to keep that open. Documents, LM guideline. So, blocks versus graphics. So we can get all our blocks here, which I'll go ahead and click this link. It'll open it up here. And it's just the blocks section right here on the side. It's the same tab. And you can see here it has a bunch of blocks. If you organize it by gallery, you can actually see what all the things are. So like, we'll just go ahead and organize it by downloads. So like, organize it by downloads. Come on. It's trying to load. And I think the Switch Pack is a great example, but it is a little difficult to explain how it's a little difficult to explain exactly how the graphics work for it. So let's do like let's see, I'm trying to think of a block that wouldn't exactly need special graphics. Oh, what a song choice. Sure, let's do Sticky Ceiling. Sticky Ceiling's easy. So let's say we downloaded Sticky Ceiling. Sticky Ceiling doesn't actually come with any graphics included in it, so there's nothing you necessarily need to worry about. So there's your Sticky Ceiling block. And it's an ASM. So we're going to go into GPS, which stands for Gopher Popcorn Stew or something. I don't know where that name possibly came from. I'm not even going to pretend like I know, but it's there. LM 101, you need to sign up for that class. I'm working on it. I'm trying. Lunar Magic's hard, and I want to try to make it more easily accessible for people. So this whole video is going to be going on YouTube. Whether I break it up and actually try to like edit it, or whether it just goes up in one chunk, it's going up. So yes, here's our Popcorn is the first actual pop song. Oh, I don't exactly know what you mean by that, Shanti, but if you're calling Popcorn a pop song, I'm in, I guess. Or you're just making a pun on popcorn and pop. Duh. Anyways, so we're gonna put our block ASM into the blocks folder. I know that's a whole shocker. And now we're gonna copy the name of it, because we're gonna need that. We're gonna need to go over to our list, where it just says GPS list, and we're gonna need to make it .asm. But that's not all of it. It was made in 1969. The actual pop music genre was named. You're not joking. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look into that, Shanti. I had no clue, and that sounds funny. And this is almost all you need for your blocks. But there is one more step. One of the first songs to ever use synthetic keyboards. Now I need to see it. I love synthetics. Synthetic keyboards, that is, synths. So we need to tell... Oh, sorry, I think I did that up here. Here's our block list. All I did was copy paste sticky ceiling.asm, and I saved it. And it's not done quite yet. We need to tell it where to put this block. So we're going to open our map 16 tile editor. And all of these blocks, they all have tiles like associated with them. And you can see them down at the bottom. So like, let's say we want to put this block right here. I think this looks like a good spot to put it. And that says it's tile 240. You can also see it in the bottom left of the window where it says 240, and it says act as 130, so you know it's acting like a cement tile. So we want to put sticky ceiling here. So let's go ahead and we're going to reopen this notepad. And we're just going to type in 240 before it. Save. We don't need that anymore. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the folder with GPS. And we're going to run GPS. It looks a lot like most of the folders and files you have to run for all this stuff. You know, enter ROM name. So we're going to do the same thing. Click, drag, enter. And if it says anything about amounts of routines registered and blocks applied, you're good. So we'll go ahead and enter. But if you look right here right now, nothing has changed. It still says gray cement block that Mario can't walk through. We gotta reopen Lunar Magic. So now that we've reopened Lunar Magic, we'll go down to here and tile 240. This is a block that the player and enemies will stick to when they jump into it from below. So now, this block, regardless of the graphics, will work as sticky ceiling. Like right now, I could just use this, and it'll look like this janky, just square. But it should work. So we'll go ahead and test that theory. Why does it look like this block? I couldn't tell you. It's janky. It's not supposed to look like that, but it doesn't matter. Excuse me? Oh, it probably has something to do with the fact that I reloaded a save state. Let's just go ahead and... We'll just go ahead and get there real quick. So go here. Save state. Reload it. Now that one confuses me. The only other thing I could think of is a lot of blocks need to be inserted as 25. And you know there is a way we can actually check this. If we were to go into our GPS folder, into the blocks, and double click that sticky ceiling, a lot of times they'll tell you in here, although I don't actually see it. Yeah, yeah, I don't see it, but we're gonna go ahead and try this out. I know a lot of times if you change things to act as 25, usually that means that Mario can just go right through them. But in this case, at least, it shouldn't. We'll see, though. Yep, that was it. See, if it was 25 and it was just not a custom block, it would just, you just move right through it like it was air. But because it's a custom block, we have our sticky ceiling. And because, like I said, graphics and blocks are different, this block works as sticky ceiling. Now, let's say we wanted to have a different graphic there. We could do that. Let's say we wanted to take this tile right here, and we'll go ahead and post it here. But it's still the player will act as, or will stick to it when it's stuck to below or whatever. So what we're going to do is change this to act as back to 25. And then let's maybe change the palette color. We could change it to anything. Like I could change it to any of these palettes, and they work based off your color palettes. But let's just use one of these pre-made ones. Let's use, say, not 2. I just kind of like to play around sometimes. Sure, let's use 3. Palette 3. You like the flashing one? We'll go with the flashing one. 6? Palette 6 it is. So we're going to go back into Lunar Magic, reload it, and look at that. It looks and acts exactly like a sticky ceiling. And it just does exactly what that code says for it to do. It works exactly as intended. So that's kind of my basic rundown of, I guess, blocks versus graphics. Where you can see the graphics don't mean anything. The block is what matters. The graphics can be literally whatever you put there. If the block isn't set to do that, then it's not going to do that. This song goes for ages. How long is this? It's like a 9-minute long song. Oh, and that is Popcorn. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it was that song too. Coolly. Alright. Any new questions on that so far? Before I go ahead and continue on. So yeah, we explained the graphics, which we can get custom graphics here too. We'll go ahead and touch on custom graphics when we want to get like backgrounds and foregrounds and all that, but we'll get there soon. So, next thing I like to do is set up your YYCHR program to work with Lunar Magic. YYCHR is that other program we downloaded earlier. And if I were to go back, I actually don't have it downloaded in here. Let's go ahead and download it together. That way I can say I've done a good job. YYCHR. Here's the .NET version. Which is just the version that is used. I don't know why. I don't ask questions. When you download it, you get a .zip, which we're going to open when it wants to download. When it wants to download. Come on. I just want to see what's in there at least so I can tell you all what I'm doing exactly. There we go. Come on. What do you mean can't open it? There we go. So YYCHR, and it has all of this. I have this saved in another folder. And really, you don't need anything that's in this. You just need to have it saved. It acts like a program on your computer like anything else. So the first thing I like to do here is set up YYCHR to work with your graphics. So what we do is we're going to go to File, Palette, no, Graphics. Set up Tile Editor. So you can see here, like I have it set, like I said, it's used in my users, whatever, desktop, stream, Lunar Magic, tools, YYCHR folder. And then it's just, you can see it's linking to YYCHR.exe. So wherever you put that folder, that file, in fact, I should just be able to find that pretty easily if it was just here, tools, YYCHR, and there it is. And if you were to click it and run it, it would look like this. But the reason why I specifically like to run it through Lunar Magic is this button right here. Replace the YYCHR PAL file with current palette. That way, if you're ever doing anything where you have a custom palette and you want to affect things based on that custom palette, when you open it up from Lunar Magic, it'll automatically already have that palette file in there, which makes it so nice. So like, let's say we wanted to like check out exactly, like if it was working, we would open our graphics. Let's go ahead and just hit enable bypass. It just makes it so you can change your graphics files. And you want to see what is in the files for file graphics 17. That's currently in FG2. If I hit edit, because I have it set up as we did, it's going to pull up like this. It looks like junk. I know. You just got to sit with me for just a sec. Right here where it says format 2BP MSX, we're going to go ahead and take that and drop it down to 4BP SNES/PCE. And now things look like they make sense. Like these are all tiles that look familiar, more or less, right? And you can click around down here, and these will just show you the palette rows you're reading them from. So like there's the purple triangle. There's half of a moon. And if you were to change it to like the yellow, you know, you can see there's the moon and the palette the moon's in. There's a berry. That was that palette. I think the berry actually uses like a palette down here or something. There's a lot of palette files. Usually you only use these top 7. I think sprites use the ones underneath it. But yeah, because we set up YYCHR, we can open up any of these files and just be like, oh, what's in BG1 under 1B. Oh, it looks like this. It looks kind of like trash, but you can tell it's kind of like the background graphics that are going on behind here. And then how I like to show exactly which graphics are loaded per level, the easiest way I like to see it, like you could see it right here. FG1 is 14, FG2 is 17. But if you were to open up your 8x8 selector and press F1, just kind of like how you press F1 on here and it pulls up this, press F1 here, and it pulls up this little window at the top where you can see FG1 is 14, and here's all the files that are in that. FG2 is 17, here's all the files that are in that. And then I know you can hit tab, I think it's, yeah, page up and page down, and it will change the palette files, but that doesn't, or the palette row, just so you can see it, but it doesn't really matter. So yeah, you can see all your files here, and it goes down just to BG5. And technically there's even more than that. You have to hit a special key combination. It's like Control-Shift-Alt page down. And you can see like, here's your sprite files, and here's a chuck head. I think in theory I could take that chuck head and put it here if I want. Can I? Can I do that? Can I put a Podaboo? No, I can't even do that. But that does work with most other tiles up here that aren't in the sprites. I could paste that Yoshi face. But that way you can easily access each of them. No. Oh yeah, you're just telling me I can't do that. I could pretend I know why. I know that once you pass the BG5, most of this isn't something you're ever going to need to touch. But under some circumstances, you will end up coming down here and you can see like Mario's cape aesthetics and what else is there? There's like the overworld text, some other things. But yeah, now we can at least look at our graphics. We can look at our graphics and we can see what tiles are loaded where, and we know how to see them. And And I could very easily edit them within YYCHR as well. So like, let's say I took, I think FG3 is our ground tiles. If I were to go here, change it here, and then change it to the ground tile palette, you can see there's our ground tile. Now let's say I wanted to draw like a smiley face to be included in all the ground tiles. I could pick, it has to be within this palette file, or palette row, because that's the same row that it's currently being used to run it. But let's say I wanted to use this dark green and draw a cute little smiley. Right there. I could hit save. And it would reload everything right back there. Although I actually don't want to do that just because I don't want to mess with that file. I guess I could hit save as, and I could explain EXGFX real quick. EXGFX are just extra graphics, hence the EX. And those go in the EX graphics folders. And I know 80 is kind of like the file it usually starts under. So I'm just going to name it EXGFX80. And it's always going to give you this little, like, do you want to expand? Always hit no. What does it mean? I have no clue. But I know it's no. See, what do you got here, Shanti? You can't use GFX files assigned to foreground on sprites and vice versa. You need to use the GFX bypass to load different graphics if you want to do that. Oh, alright. Makes sense. So we just changed the FG3 one, and we inserted it under 80. So we're going to go ahead and hit quick insert GFX and EXGFX, which all it does is just, it puts it into the ROM, whereas a second ago, since we opened it before we had saved it, it wouldn't have been there. But now if I type in 80, there it is. And if I do it, it's kind of hard to see down there, but you can see the little ugly, horrible smiley face in all of these. Every single one of them. And the reason why it looks like it affects multiple of the squares and not just that one tile is that that one tile is actually used multiple times. Like this tile and this tile are the same tile. You can see it's 192. That's 192, but that's 193. So I changed tile 192, so anything that refers to tile 192 is going to have the smiley face. I don't want that to currently be there for forever, so we're going to go ahead and just change it back to 15. Beautiful. And I was going to touch on that a little later, but we'll go ahead and touch on that now as well. Whereas if you're in the 8x8 selector, or is it not 8x8, when you're in 16x16, you click on any tile, you can see here it's 182, 183, 192, 193. So we're going to go ahead and open up our 8x8 selector. And go ahead and go to FG15, because that's where we know it's under. And if I were to find where this is 192 underneath if you look at the underneath or like the corner of the box, it says tile at 0x192. That tile is the same thing as this tile. That's where it's pulling 192 from. It's pulling it from right here. So that's why if I were to click right down here, this one also has 192. So like when we changed this tile's 192 to affect the smiley face, it affects all the 192s everywhere. See, it asks you to expand YYCHR because it thinks you're using the bottom half of the graphics file and asks you to expand so you can save those blank tiles. Oh. Thank you, Shanti, for teaching me things. I didn't know that. So, anyways, you can kind of see exactly how, like, if you were to mouse over any tile here, so like, the bottom of the cannon, that's tile, oh, if I mouse over it, 3A. And if I go over to the cannon and look at the bottom, it's going to be 3A. It all lines up. So you can see that the Map 16 editor gets all its tile information for graphics from the 8x8. and just kind of arranges it in these 4 chunks to make the graphics. Alright, so let's see if we can get through at least a chapter 3 here before the end of the night. So I got using Pixie to insert custom sprites. So let's go ahead and look for a custom sprite. We'll go ahead and look at gallery mode so we can take a look at it, and then let's just organize it by downloads. Let's see what we got when it wants to load. Display message 1. I don't even know what that sprite. We're gonna look for a fun looking, easy looking sprite. Not the spiny boss. That looks complicated. But let's look for Hammer Bro would work, but I don't want Hammer Bro. I want to look for something more fun. Propeller box sounds fun. I'm just kind of looking at what we got here, though. Giant Beetle Boss, Boomerang Bro. You know what? Boomerang Bro sounds nice. It's simple, it's nice, it's easily testable. Let's go ahead and... Actually, is it nice and easy? Let's not do that because he's throwing something. I want something a little less complicated. He might be throwing a second sprite technically, which is the only reason why I'm like, I want something simple where it's just one sprite.
Someone pushed the gate open to come see you.
Someone pushed the gate open to come see me.
First he went to check the map though.
Here, this one looks pretty easy. Paracupa that flies in a circle pattern. So we'll go ahead and select it. Go ahead and download it. Not right now, but thank you.
Yes. Okay, he's coming. Go.
Hello, mister.
Okay, that's it.
So we download our blue Paracupa. We're going to go ahead and open it. And it comes with an ASM and a CFG file. What are those? We'll get there. Don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead and get back into the folder with our LM101 tutorial. Here's our Pixie file, which just had all the files that come with Pixie. So, we're going to take both of these files and just plop them right in the sprites folder. And then we're going to go ahead and copy and paste the name of the .cfg file. And for some reason, I know Pixie does not come with a list.txt, so we have to just create one. It's just called list, and it's a .txt document. We're going to open up that list.txt, and we have to type in what sprite number we want it to be under. And I'm not sure exactly how the numbers work, how high up they need to go, or can go, but I know you could start with number 1. So we're going to start with number 1. Blue Paracupa, and it's a CFG file. We can also see that back here and where we got it. So .cfg. Save. So, now that that's saved and it's in there, there might be an easier way to do this, but unfortunately I don't know it. Because if we just ran Pixie right now, it would come here and it would say, oh, put your ROM in there. And I'd be like, cool, let's do it. I put the ROM in there and it says can't open list.txt. It's because it expects your list.txt to be in the same file as your Lunar Magic. And it's not. So what I do here is I like to just copy, go into Pixie, paste. Now we can go over here and it does ask for this again. We're going to drop it in correctly. 50 shared routines were registered. All sprites applied successfully. So nice and easy. We'll go ahead and hit enter. I'm going to cut this and put it back in my original folder. We'll go ahead and replace it because I know it's safe. And now we're going to go ahead and just close out. Let's hit save and reopen it again. So we have our file, and you open your sprites and you look for it and it's not going to show up. And there's a way to make it show up. I believe you have to use a JSON file or JSON file instead of a CFG file. And there's some steps to that I don't exactly know. But here's what I will show you. So you're going to want to make sure you're in sprite editing mode. So you got that shell up. We're going to go to Edit, Insert Manual. So you get this little box here. And it says Command. We're going to type in the sprite number, which is the sprite number that we put in. Let me just open it again. In Pixie, in that list.txt, we opened it as sprite 1. Oop, don't save. I accidentally edited it. So we're gonna name it, or choose number 1, because that's what we typed it in as. And then we're gonna set the extra bit to 2. Why do we set it to 2? Great question. I don't have a great answer. But what I know is custom sprites, you want to set it to 2. Some custom sprites, you have an option to set it to 3. And then it'll do a second work a little bit differently. In fact, let's go ahead and open up our sprite ASM. And if we were to look here, see, uses first extra bit, yes. If extra bit is clear, the sprite will rotate clockwise. If it's set, it'll rotate counterclockwise. So that's what I was meaning here. So when I said here that like the extra bit can be set, when we hit enter, it's gonna look like an X. But I promise you when we go into the game, it'll work fine. So we're going to copy it again, and if you hit Alt and right click, it'll reopen the same window you just had to get it placed. But let's go ahead and change this into 3. So we're setting the extra bit by changing the number from 2 to 3. And let's just make sure there's nothing else in that list file, or in this file here, that would be useful to know. Not really. The rest of this is just coding stuff that goes way above my head. I'm actually trying to vaguely start learning on coding, but that's a whole process that I don't know. So we're going to hit save. We're going to hit F4 to load. F4 again to reload the save state. Let's go ahead and go in. So everything is good. Sticky fly, and look at that. We have our 2 different Koopas, and they're moving in opposite directions because this one on the right has that bit set. If I set that to 2 instead of 3, it would be moving in the same direction as this guy. And you can see when I bounce on him, it works just the same as it should. And it kills me, and it works. So everything is working there. We have our custom sprite. Our custom sprite works as intended. It dies as intended. It jumps as intended. Everything works. I call that a success. Alright. And then the last thing I wanted to briefly touch on before the end of stream here. I will have another part probably on Wednesday when I come back to where we can touch up on this some more. Because obviously I have more to go. But the last thing I would like to touch on for just a minute here is Block Creator. Now, Block Creator, it does exactly what it says. I actually have it open right here. Let's just go ahead and just remove everything that's in it currently, because I used this to make something a while ago. Yeah, Mario Solid. Yep. So, this is pretty straightforward. And this is another program that we downloaded earlier just straight off the tools section. But like it says events. So let's say Mario's underneath this block. And we want it to make it so if Mario is underneath the block, if it touches Mario from below, then let's say it gives coins to the player. Can we do that? Oh. Sorry, I opened up a second window. Let's have it give the player 10 coins. If the player is above, let's have him give it, let's say, 5 coins. Side, sure, let's do the side too. Side is 1 coin. But yeah, you can see where I'm going with this. It just, you choose which direction you'd like Mario to interact with it. Same thing with sprites. If Cape hits it, fireballs, Mario Corner, and then there's a bunch of different events here. Like you can make it like if P switches, or like if the on-off switch is off, you can play a sound effect. You can change this block into another block. You can make the block act solid, act passable, create smoke. Literally tons and tons of things. This block description down here just tells you what's gonna say in map 16 when you mouse over it. So let's say this is it. Let's say that was the whole block. That was what we wanted it to do. We wanted to give player coins dependent on which side it's on. So we're going to hit generate code. It gives you this. We're going to go into our GPS folder for our custom blocks. And there should be a template file. We're just going to copy, paste. So we're pasting in all that custom code we just got. And I like to hit save as, and we're going to name it coinblock.asm. I always change this to all files just to make sure it saves as an ASM. Now, if we were to go back into our list.txt, I need to put it into our thing, or into our map 16. So we're going to go in coinblock.asm, save, and I just changed it to 241. It'll just be the next block over, but I could have moused over it in my map 16 to see it. So now, let's go ahead and exit out of here. Let's open up our Lunar Magic. Let's go into our map 16. Let's grab a tile we want it to look like. Let's say we want it to look like this. And we'll put it here. And you can see, why does it say part of a donut bridge tile? Did it not run? Oh, I didn't run GPS, sorry. I put it in the list file, but I didn't run it. I'm running a minute late, but I just want to try to just get off this last little section, I'm just saying. So we're going to drag it in, it's going to run. Now it applies the blocks. Now we close out a Lunar Magic, doesn't matter. Reopen it. Come on. Drag Lunar Magic. We're going to grab our bridge tile we want it to look like, and we're going to put it right there. And you can see when I mouse over it, it says coin block, just like I said it would. And then let's go ahead and just, let's make it act as 130, just so it acts like a solid. And then let's go ahead and place one right here. And one right here. So, let's go ahead and just mute everything so you can hear it. So I want to make sure you can hear what's going on. So we're going to go ahead, make sure everything is, yep, you got audio. Come on. Drop the block. So, you can hear, when I touch the side, because you can't see my coin counter, but you can hear it. That it's giving me coins. And when I land up there, you can't see it again because there's no coin counter, but it's giving me a different value of coins dependent on whether I hit it from the top, behind, the sides. It's all the values I put in there. So you could use that in combination with stuff to make all kinds of weird custom blocks that may or may not already exist on the SMW Central, but with this you don't need to. You could just make it yourself, which has really been convenient for me. So with that, we have finished up chapter 2. We got through 2 chapters. We got to start up everything. We have made custom blocks, custom tiles, custom music. We have loaded up custom graphics, and we will go farther and more in-depth into all of this. Like I said, I have plenty more to go, and I'm still adding on to this list. Anyways. So, let's find where we were. Where were we? Not at X animation. We will get to X animation. That's hopefully coming up today. So I think what I wanted to just go over again real quick was I just wanted to touch on the palette, and I think we'll just set up another background and foreground on another level, just so you can show off how it was done again. Maybe this time I'll be a little less picky with making our level look nice. But I mean, look at this. I think this is a nice looking level, like palette. I would build a level with this kind of palette. I might redo this block personally, but it looks nice. So, cement block, get out of here. So what we're gonna do here, let me go ahead and turn down my own volume for myself. So we wanted to start by talking about the palette. So the palette's here, and all of the hotkeys you could ever need are written down here, and I can never remember them. I always misuse the wrong hotkey, like every single time, 100% of the time. It's okay. We all do it. But what I'll show off is you can click anywhere, and it'll just pull up this kind of like, you know, creator. You can change the saturation, I think that is. No, that's a luminosity, I guess. But we didn't save anything. You can change all the values like by numbers. You can drag it around. You know, you have all your options you can need. And you can add to custom colors, but I'm not too positive exactly how that works. I've never used down here. And then if you control left click, yes, control left click on any color, it copies it. Then if you right click, it pastes that color. So like, let's say we want to copy this yellow color, and I want to put that yellow color here. It doesn't look like it does much, but if I put it here, you can see it does something. And you could mess around with it. In theory, you could keep messing around with the colors, and you could find your own custom color palette that looks nice. Another kind of fun thing you can do is, let's say we wanted to make our own custom gradient. Because gradients look nice, and you can see there's actually kind of two gradients going on here. There's like a dark green to like a lime, and then like a darker green to like a, I don't know, green. But let's say I wanted to replace this dark green with red, and then maybe replace this light green with this light yellow. And then we went, boom. You can see it filled in this color halfway in between. But if I want to make a more drastic, like, gradient, you could see I could put, like, let's put orange here, and what's a different color? Green. Sure. And then you can put it anywhere you want. So let's say I'll put it here, Alt right click, and then Alt right click. And there you go, you have a perfect gradient. It looks horrid. This is a horrible color combination. Don't do this. But it works. And you can, like I said, you can make it as big as possible. If I want to make a gradient from here down to here, don't do that. But you can do that. You see? Except for this animated color, because animated colors you can't edit. Even if I change it as much as I want, it doesn't do anything because it's animated. We could turn off that animation by toggling this button here that says Enable Original Games Palette Animation. And then I could come back over here and look at that. It looks horrible and ugly, but it's there. There's our color. But we're going to go ahead and turn that back on. So now you can see it's moving again. So, that's the palette. The only other thing I could touch on the palette that's really nice is that if you have the palette selected, and then you want to copy a color from anywhere else on your computer, even outside of Lunar Magic, as long as you have this palette selected, you can press F3, and wherever your mouse is under, or over I guess, it'll copy that color. So like, let's say I really liked this color of pink right here. I just want to make sure I have Lunar Magic up, make sure it's I can see the color I want. F3, and now I can right click, and there it is. Doesn't look as nice and as I would think, but by itself anyways. But like if I was like, oh, I like that color, let's put that here, and then I want to like this blue color down here, we're gonna put that over there, and then I could be like, boom, now we got a nice gradient. But yeah, it's just kind of fun to mess around with that. You can find fun ways to take and tweak palettes from already made. Like I could take this one and be like, oh, let's make this green a red. And then we're going to take this one and make it a red. And then we'll just drag, or gradient. And then we can do the same thing with, let's make this a darker red, because that one's a darker green. And we'll copy this color, but we'll make it more pale. And then we'll do that. Oh, and then this color we'd probably want to change too. I'll just make it also very dark. Look at that. I don't think that looks absolutely horrid. I don't love it. But for like throwing it together in like 3 seconds, I don't think it looks that bad. So we're just going to undo all that. That's your palette. That's all the things you really need to know, other than to make sure auto enable custom palette on edit is on, just so you don't change your global palette, because that would change everything at every level, and that might be not what you want to do. I guess the other thing you could pay attention to is background area color. This level, since we have a good background set, wouldn't be a good example to show you it, but like, let's say I went to just a different level. Like, let's just go to 106. So that's actually kind of hard to see too. There we go, that's a good one. So from here, you can see that the background color is this color right here. And I could take that color and I can move it to whatever color I want, and it's going to change the whole background. The reason why I don't do that in ours, we don't need to save that, is just because how it's set, you don't actually see this background color anywhere. I could change it to any color I want, and it's not going to do anything, because most of our background is all set here. Like, I think, yeah, it looks like the background is actually these two colors and this one, which that's actually part of, like, your HUD bar, I believe. If you were to change that, it would change, like, where your points and stuff are. If we have a ASM already on there to nuke that, but if we didn't want to nuke it, it would affect that. So we're gonna go ahead and save. So, like I said, I want to go over backgrounds and foregrounds real quick. So we're just gonna pick another level, and we're gonna make it a different background and foreground. To start, let's just go ahead and wipe the level, because if it's all gonna look janky and horrible after we change the graphics files. So we're gonna Control Delete, and just delete everything. You can see it's all gone. Everything's gone. That's fine. Now we're gonna hit save, just so it's saved, and we're gonna pull up Lunar Magic, or not Lunar Magic. We're gonna pull up. Why is this playing? Stop it. Here we go. SMW Central. So from here, let's just see if we can find some nice looking graphics. Let's look for a background, and then we'll do a foreground. Unless we find ones that work together, that could also be kind of fun, but we'll go ahead and filter. Background, filter. This is some nuts music. I don't know what this track is. Delta Rune 2. We're gonna change this one. I'm just not feeling it, you know? So, we're going to change it to gallery view so we can see what's going on. And let's say we wanted this one right here. That looks like a fun background. And we can see exactly what row of palette it uses and what palette slot, or graphic slots it uses. So in case you were like, oh man, I already have something that uses palette row 3, you could work around it. There's a way to do that, but it'd be a pain in the butt. And then your BG1, BG2, chances are if you're putting in a background, you don't have something in those slots, but if you did, that could be a problem. But we're going to go ahead and download it. We're going to save it, open it up in 7-zip. I'll go ahead and minimize that. We're going to open up our Lunar Magic 101 tutorial folder. We're going to our level graphics, and we're going to make a new one, just call it level 2, just for the sake of being different. This is also a pretty loud song, I feel like. We're just going to turn it down a wee bit. I don't want to distract. And then level 2, we're going to make it BG for background. Like I said, where you store this really doesn't matter. This is just how I like to store everything, because that way if I ever change anything or lose anything, I have all the files right here, and I don't need to worry about like, oh, where'd they go? What happened to this? You know, whatever. It's all right here. And you can see right here it says we have a map 16 file, which scroll out enough. Yep, there it is. There's a PAL and a PAL mask, which I believe they're both palette files. I'm not sure what PAL mask is versus PAL, but... And then we have our level file and our graphics. So we're going to take our graphics, and we're just going to copy them. I'm going to go back to our Lunar Magic 101. And we can just paste it here in our exgfx folder. If 803 and 804 were already taken in this instance, we could have renamed them and made it work too. It'd just be an extra step. But we could do that. So like, let's say we did need to do that. In fact, I'll even show that off. So 803, 804, we're going to make exgfx 93 and exgfx 94. So, we're going to open our Lunar Magic. We're going to go ahead and insert that graphic. So now 93 and 94 are in the game. We're going to go ahead and save and we can just exit out of this for a minute. Now, we're going to open up our level file. And it's going to tell us that this is missing exgfx 803 and 804. That's because we renamed it 93 and 94. And it's going to look horrible. It's going to look like this. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to find where it said 803 and 804. We're going to make that 93 and 94. And look at that. It's still ugly. But the graphics files are in. The reason why they're not working now is because we haven't put the map 16 in. Hence why it looks like all these kind of bricks everywhere. It's because it's just using whatever the file, like whatever the tile location is, but there's nothing there yet. So we're going to go ahead and hit import map 16 tile from files. Then we're going to go to our level graphics, level 2, BG, and there it is. There's only one, and you can see it's a map 16 file. So we're going to go ahead and open that, and it already looks great. Look at that. Beautiful. But I also want to show off something else while we're here. So let's say you put this here, and it looks great like that. But then you move it to try to check to make sure there's nothing underneath it. And let's say you already had something underneath that. You're already using that tile in that space, and you're like, gosh, what am I supposed to do? Well, there's a fairly easy way to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention that it's on the beginning of page A5. And I'm going to drag it down to A6. So let's say that we were already using tiles here for another background in another level or something. So now we dragged it down to A6. We're going to hit save. It still looks ugly and horrid. That's okay. The fix for this now is we're going to open up our background layer 2 editor. There's a button here that says remap. I can easily tell you the answer is 100, but what it is you need to find the hex value for how many tiles you're moving everything over. Because we're essentially saying every single tile add an offset of this much to whatever tile you think it is. So I could find our calculator, which actually isn't up yet. We can go and open it. Make sure it's in programmer mode, which it is. We can go to hex, type in 100, and I can tell you 256. So one page of this map 16 should be 256 tiles. I guess I could kind of easily test that. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 15 times 16 is... I should know that off the top of my head. Where'd my calculator go? Doesn't sound right to me, but I'm going to do it anyways. 15 times 16, 240. There's 16 tiles. I think it might count from like... I must have missed one here. There must have been 16 right here. Because 16 times 16 would then equal 256. And like I said, you can tell in the calculator, which I just exited out of again, that 100 in hex, there we go, is 256. So, we're going here, we're selecting 100, which is 256 tiles, which is one page, like we moved things, and we're going to add that offset, and just hit, boom. Now it looks good again. Everything looks great, and things are working. This is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. And if you were building this level first, if this was the very first level you were building, or like you were, let's say you were building a level from scratch, and this is the first thing you did. You haven't built anything else yet. Really? Hot drinks again? No. What are the odds? Anyways, so what you could do, instead of having to copy over the graphics, because I could always hit copy background image from level file, or level, and it would copy the background from that level. But if I was already like, this is already good, why would I change it to another level just to do the same thing? You can hit save level to ROM as. Well, let's save it to level 2. I know we're not using that right now, and I called it level 2 in the file. So now you see it changed from entrance to 130, whatever it said, to level 2. What song track? Is my hair colored? I'm sorry I didn't notice any of the chat till right now. No, it is not W Corpse. It is just blonde as I am. Although I kind of want to color it one day. I think it'd be kind of fun. You never knew what did I say though that you didn't know, RZ? I'm so sorry. I moved chat down and everything got lost, and you know, it is what it is. But yeah, now we have this. We were able to remap our tiles, and we have our thing working. We have our levels saved. Everything is good. It's a good start. Again, if there's any questions at any point, please let me know. I would love to help out. So focused in on the tutorial. I'm going. I'm doing good. I'm trying to stay to the thing. I'm moving, you know. How are you doing today, though, Corpse? Hope you're doing good. This is a weird song choice. Anyways, so now we want a foreground. Just because I want to show off how to do foreground again. So we're just going to go ahead and make a new file here, our folder. We're going to name it foreground. And then we're going to open up our SMW Central. As always, we're going to change this to foreground now. And we're just gonna pick a foreground. It doesn't need to be very pretty. I just want it to be something that you can see what it is, and I could throw some together real quick. Here, there we go. Athletic 2013, sure. You can see it uses palettes 2, 3, 5, and 6, 5, 6, and 7. And that's actually a good example of what I was gonna show off earlier, is that this uses palettes 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And we know that this uses palette 3. So you can see that's a whole row right here. So you know this might actually be a good example to show off how to make a kind of a custom palette if you need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up that. There we are. Then I'm going to download, save, open in 7-zip, open our file, put it in our foreground. There we go. So there's our map 16, there's our graphics, there's, you know, all of it. So we're going to take our graphics file, just put it in our exgfx folder, because again, we're not using 8A. Could rename it if we needed to, but thankfully we don't. Song's so good. I think it played already, but I don't really care. Let it go again. So our graphics 8A are in there. We're going to go ahead and insert it so it's in. Then we can go ahead and go back to our foreground. We're going to open our level. Oh, thank you for the juice. I forgot it. You can see everything's looking a little janky. That's because we haven't put in our map 16 tiles. So we're going to go and import our map 16 tiles, level graphics, level 2, foreground, map 16. Luckily, there's nothing underneath it. So we're good there. Because I want to be able to use it, I'm just going to drag it all the way up here. I don't think it really matters where you put your tiles in your map 16. Eventually, there's a line that where, like, it's for background use and not for foreground use, but I don't know exactly where to draw that line. But we'll go ahead and drop it right there. So you can see our graphics are here, they're loaded in correctly, and they look nice. So we'll go ahead and save our map 16. We can go ahead and exit out of here, because it's been saved. Now, I just like to reload Lunar Magic afterwards, just to make sure everything's good. So we're just going to reload Lunar Magic. Otherwise, sometimes you'll like, something will have saved in one version of Lunar Magic, but now you're like behind on another, so it works better if you just go back. We'll go to level 2. So now we're at this background that we just made. And then I know we needed to, I'm actually going to check one last thing back in here. I didn't remember to check where we inserted that graphics file. So we'll click our graphics until 8A is an FG3. So now we can just exit out of that. That was all I needed there. So we're going to go into here, and in FG3, we're going to put an 8A. Boom. Now we can go ahead and look at our map 16. See, this is what I mean when I say multiple versions of Lunar Magic. It looks like I didn't actually save the map 16 tiles. It's okay. We're just going to import them again. There we go. We'll go and drag it back up to the top just so it's easier to find. Put it there. And it's technically good. It doesn't look good, but it's technically good. So we're going to save. And in an ideal world, what I could do here is I could import my palette file, which is what would make it look nicer. And when I do that here, you're going to find out it messes up the background. Sad. Here's my workaround. I'm not sure if there's a better way to do this. There very well might be. But we're going to leave up this. And I'm actually going to minimize this version of Lunar Magic a little bit. We can still see it, but I just want to make sure we can see some space to the right. And we're going to open up our level file again. We can go here. Yeah, I don't need that at this exact moment. And now we know the palette for this file is already good. If I really wanted to verify it, I could import level file from palette. Go over here, FG, and there's our palette. And yeah, I did nothing. So, what we're going to do is we're going to find out exactly which tiles, or like rows we need. So we can go over here, actually. Where was it? To where we downloaded it, and we can see it's 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Let's open both of our Lunar Magics. So we know 2 is actually the third one down, because it starts at 0. So 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. So the easiest way I know, there might actually be a way. I'm going to try this right now, and if this works, I'm going to save myself so much time. We're going to use this right here where it says Control and right click. That's or it says add Alt for an entire row. So we're going to Control, Alt, and I think it's left click then to copy. So we're going to click row 2 because we know it uses row 2. And then we're going to go over here, go over to row 2, Control, Alt, right click. Oh my god, that saves so much time. So, now that I know that works, that's fantastic. What I could have done, and what I have done in the past, is I would open this and find exactly which colors I need. And I showed you that trick where you could press F3 to copy colors. So I would go through each row and copy each color one at a time and paste it back. And it would work. But that was row 2. We need row 3. So we're going to copy row 3 as well. Control, Alt, right click. Oh, Control, Alt, left click. But we know row 3 is taken here. So we're going to find the next row that's not used, which in this case is 4. I'm going to open this back up. We're going to go to row 4, the next one. Control, Alt, right click. Just paste that in. And then it was 5, 6, and 7. So this is row 5. We're going to Control, Alt, left click. Row 5, Control, Alt, right click. 6 would be the next one. Control, Alt, left. Control Alt right. One more, Control Alt left, Control Alt right. So now our palette, all the colors are there. In theory, I shouldn't need this anymore. But if you look here, everything more or less looks good, but there's still a couple things that look a little off. And that's because right here, this color is set to palette 3. And remember, palette 3 is what our background uses. And we put all the things in palette 3 into palette 4. So we're actually just going to highlight these blocks. I could do it one at a time. Or since I know that all 3 of those use palette 3, I can highlight all of them. We're going to change it to palette 4. And now that makes sense. We do the same thing here. Palette 4. I'm not sure what palette this actually is using because this is palette dash. Just to check, palette 4. Nope, we don't want palette 4. I'm curious which palette it is though. I'm just gonna kind of cycle through them real quick because I'm like, which one could it be? It's not 4, 5, 6, or 7. Interesting. Is it really? I don't know how you can have it as like palette 0. Is that what that? No, because palette 0 is that. I'm not exactly sure what that palette would be since it doesn't say it, and that confuses me. Maybe if I selected one tile at a time? Yeah, there's palette 3. So these ones are all palette 3. If we made it palette 4, you could see that looks better. I think the reason why it was saying the dash is because this right here is one block, one tile. But up within this one tile, these 2 blocks use palette 3. Well, they were using palette 3. Now they use palette 4. And these 2 use palette 5. So because it was split up between 2 different palettes in one block, it just shows you a dash. But yeah, now you can see I could build with this if I wanted to. We're not going to spend too long here. But I could throw together a couple tiles and just be like, oh, look at that. We'll just go ahead and drag that over. Then we'll copy paste another one. Drag that down, make it look nice. Look at that. And that looks fairly nice. The only issue I'm having here, and it might actually not show up in level, because sometimes it looks a little different in Lunar Magic than it does in level, is that we have this little bar down here. And to test that, I'm gonna skip over something. We'll go over this in more detail in a second, but I'm going to my overworld editor and I'm changing the tile of this tile to, instead of going to level 106, I'm gonna make it go to level 2. That way we can check it. We're gonna hit save, get out of our overworld. Let's just go ahead and check that. We can hit F4 to load our save state. We can move over to this, which says Yoshi's Island 2. Oh, actually, no, I saved the overworld. Sorry, I need to restart this. When you save anything to the overworld, you actually have to restart a new file, because the overworld is created when you create the file. So I'm just going to space through this to use my fast forward. But now instead of saying whatever it said before, now it says Vanilla Secret 3. Yeah, and you can actually see here, it looks fine. The colors look fine. There is a way to offset it, though. Like, let's say that you could see this little spot down here and it looked really ugly. You'd be able to open your... Is it right in here? No. I can find it here, though, real quick. I think it's right here to change other properties. Layer 2 background initial position for relative method. It's a lot of letters, and this is... Or a lot of letters, a lot of words. It essentially just is telling you the position of the level for the background. And I could change this 1B to 1C, and that would move it up 1, as you can see. Or I could change it to 1O. That moves it down a lot. And we just want to be back where it was. So 1B looks good, and like you saw, it looked good in level, but it didn't look good in Lunar Magic. Which is fine. As long as it looks good in level, that's the part that matters. But yeah, so now we have background, we have foreground, we had to mess around with the palettes a little bit, and we have it all working. Congrats. So we can save that. We're not actually going to touch that level much more. We're just going to go back to our current level where we got all this all set up. And we can go ahead and check out what's next in line. I know we kind of went over layer 3 a little bit last time. And layer 3 works a lot like like background. The only thing is, instead of putting the graphics files like here where it says background, or right there where it says foreground, you'd actually put it in the layer 3 graphics, and usually it's like LG4 or LG3 and LG4 and then LT3 down here. But other than that, it works pretty much the same. So, what do we have next? Animated graphics icon slots, and more. Alright. So we did touch on this a tiny bit last time too. I flew through it a lot faster than I wanted to just because of time, but I really wanted to get through it. Whoa, Adam with the raid. Also, my alerts are massive. Welcome in, Miss Ray. How's it going? Adam, how's it going? Hope you're doing good. You get a new Grimace world record? Huge alert. Huge. Massive. You did get one. A new world record? Just to check. That's hell yeah on that though, if you did. Nice. I know that the time was pretty good on that. How much did you beat the world record by? Still time to save. If I know someone who's gonna go for a couple frames amongst like a 10-minute run, I know someone who will do it. His name's Adam. 100% is not completely optimized. Oh, okay. Is the any percent the one that's more optimized, I assume? But yeah, well, I guess I'll wait a sec. I'll wait for this response before I get into our animation tiles. You scared everyone away from any percent. Do you have the any percent world record too then, I assume? GG's on that. Get this block out of here. I don't want that there. Alright, so block animations. That's what I want to touch on next. We already got them set up from last time. And you can see here I can press 0, which is what triggers, like, it simulates an on-off switch press. So you can see my on-off switch is an on position. I hit it again, it's an off position. Then you can also see underneath it where our two blocks that are a death block, they move. So the reason, or how we get that to set up, let's just go over that again. We have our X animation tiles. There's two of them here. There's one that's for level animations and one for global X animations. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but global it works in the entire, like, hack, I guess, the entire game, versus level is the level. So it looks like we did level here. And this looks really complicated, but I'm going to go over each of these real quick, one by one. So slot is just the slot. I don't know how else to describe it. This is the where you saved this animation to. It's saved to slot 0. You can see we selected type 2, 8x8s, and it's a line. So what this means is we're using two 8x8 tiles in a line that we're animating. And the way I can actually see that to show it off is if we were to go to where our graphics files are, which we can see we're using alternate GFX 60, which is where we have this saved. Good luck tutorializing. Thanks for the good luck, Nix. Welcome in. Hope you're doing all right. I have already heard. Why are we repeating like the same like 4 songs? It's a good song, but like, I'm fine for another song, you know? So, you can see here it says we're using tiles, or sorry, I didn't even get there yet. So it said two 8x8s in a line. So here's like the top tile of this block, and here's the bottom tile. So we're two 8x8s in a line because it's two 8x8 tiles and it's in a line. The trigger, we have it set to on-off because we want these to switch on the on-off switch. colors, we can kind of ignore that. That's for if you're animating colors, which is great when you want to animate colors. And I do want to touch on that, but not yet. Frames, you always want one more animation tile than there is frames that you're using. So like we want this to be a one frame trick. We want on one frame to go from this death block over to, or why is it? Oh, it's not working because I have this up. But if we want it to switch from this top graphics to this graphics in one frame, not 100 frames. Oh god, did I just change? I think I messed up a little bit when I typed in 100. I think that's good now. Yeah, we're good. Also, if you don't mind, RZ, I saw you said something about, like, you didn't even know something. I didn't even hear or see what you're saying. I'm just kind of curious what you didn't know, because I felt like you know our Lunar Magic way better than me. The gradient. Oh, yeah, gradients are nice. That's how I mess around with things, and I make a lot of my own colors. Like, actually, in the... I'll show off the level I'm actually making right now in Untitled Hack. If we were to go to level, not 1, it's 13. This background, both the background, the layer 3 and the tiles color for foregrounds, I changed them all to make them a bit darker, and I like this theme. I think it looks really nice. But yeah, I was able to do that just by essentially taking the gradients and just changing them up a little bit. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get that out of there. You see extremely cool level, you repost. Hey, and RZ makes some really cool shit, so like, I don't even know what you reposted, but I'm sure it's great. If it's on X or whatever, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, I'll check it out later, just because I want to see it. I don't use Twitter almost ever, though. Anyways, back to our X animations. We talked about frames. So destination, this is where we're saving our destination of our animation. And it's the hex, I guess, value of where it is in our 8x8 editor. So we could say we're saving it to 2D9. So if I were to go up, I can say page, or 2D9 is going to be on page 2, I believe it is. Or, it's not page 2. But you can tell right here, and I mouse over this tile right here, at the very bottom left, it says 2D9. So right here is the animation of where we're saving those two tiles. It's right there. Our alternate GFX 60, just because you have to use animated slots in the alternate GFX, it appears at least. I've tried using not the alternate GFX, and it just doesn't seem to work. So you put it in the alternate GFX, it works. And then we can go back down to where our alternate GFX 60 is, which is this page right here. And you can see it starts with, this is a frame. So it's just like what happens on frame 0. We're picking tile 600, which is this top left tile, as you can see. And because it's two 8x8s, it's the one next to it as well. So C0 and C01. And then what we're doing is on the second frame, we're changing it from C00 to C01. Well, I think it's supposed to be C10, now that I look at it. I'm just going to exit and open that again. Yeah, C10. It's from when I messed it up adding in tiles right here. Because, yeah, C10 is down here. And that's what we want the block to look like when it animates. So it goes from these two tiles to those two tiles. And then, essentially, to get the reverse, all I did was I made the exact same thing. I hit copy slot to just copy all this data. I went to slot 2, or 1 technically. I hit paste slot, and you can see it's the same exact thing. Looks all the same, except for now it's C10 and C00, because it's working in reverse. And then the destination is 2D8, 2DB, I can read. And then if we were to go back up to where it's being saved, you can tell that's the two spots right next to this one, where we saved the first one. And if I wanted to show you exactly that it's for sure that spot that's changing, now that I'm on, like, not inside this box here, I can hit 0 again to change the on-off switch. And you can see that those blocks are changing with my on-off switch change. That's kind of the best way I can explain X animation is you're picking what tiles you want and what tiles you want them to change to and how many frames, and then where you want to save that to. And that's only a one tile change, or a one frame change and a one tile change. It's pretty simple as far as X animations go. That took me ages to understand, because there's not a video on X animation, at least that I could find. So, that's X animation for a tile. Any questions on that? If anyone has any questions, please feel free. I am doing my best, but I'm sure my best is still lacking in some information. So I'm just making sure we went over this. I think the only thing I forgot to mention is if you're using an animated tile, like you need it to change... You know, actually I'm not sure why it would, because we have it in alternate GFX 60. But there's extended animation tiles. You can also put animated tiles here. Just for the example I was just showing you, if we were actually to go back into this level that I was working on here, these tiles here are those ones that jump, they move up and down with, like every time that you jump, they move up or down, so they're jump activated spikes. And I can open up my AN2 file down here just to kind of show off. And in YYCHR, change it to BP, 4BP. And then let's change it to the color that looks good. And you can see it's the pencil, and it kind of is the animation of it moving up and down. Which I also kind of had to redo the graphics for it, because by default it looks like a falling spike, which looks nice. But I wanted it to match the rest of the spike aesthetic of the rest of the level. So I actually went through and redrew it pixel for pixel in YYCHR just to make sure it looked better. You're just vibing at them? Hey, it's a good way to be. Bask in your world record. But yeah, anyways. So we have that. We went over all of that. We went through X animations. We made our custom graphics. We actually already went through all of this. The one thing I can touch on again real quick is for anyone that doesn't know what hexadecimal is. It sounds really difficult to explain or like understand, but it's not actually too bad. So like here's this string of numbers and this string of, I guess, numbers and letters is the same thing. How our like normal number system works is base 10. So as you can see, every time we go from 0 to 9, the next number would be 1 0, and then through 9, and then 2 0 through 9, and it's just, you know, every 10 numbers you move a digit over, or you increment the digit to the next of it. Hexadecimals work similarly, but instead of working in base 10, it's in base 16, hence the hex. So it goes 0, I could actually write this out with a 0 in front of it, that'd technically be a little more correct, I think. Let's put a 0 here as well, just to make it even. Oh, that makes it look ugly. That's okay. And you can see it goes 0 through 9, but instead of cycling over to 10, like we're used to, then it goes A through F. And then after that, you would add the 1, and actually it would be 1, 0 would be the first one. And then it'd go from 1 0 to 1 1, 1 2, 1 4, and then after 1 9, it would go to 1 A. And, you know, it just kind of go up, just like our base 10 works, but it's just every 16 numbers. So see, that's hex. We already talked about drawing in graphics and how the map 16 works with the 8x8 editor. All I was writing in there as an example is how you can see how this block is built out of DE, DF, EE, and EF. And how if you open it in the 8x8 viewer, you can see it's at the bottom DE, DF, EE, EF. So these blocks are this block. They're just these, the 4 tiles that make up the 16 by 16 are those 4 8 by 8s. Did I go over X animation slots having special properties? I wish I knew about that, Nix. I don't know anything about the special properties about X animation slots. There's probably something about it that I don't know. I've honestly just learned how to do X animation fairly recently. I remember my first, time I tried working in Lunar Magic, I tried to make a, on-off switch block, kind of like what we have down here, where it just changes. But I didn't understand how to animate it, so I couldn't figure it out, and I just kind of died on. I was like, alright, that's fine, I'm just not going to do that. Some of them affect things like animation, playback speed, and other stuff. Yeah, so this is just a good example of I don't know everything. I try. I am learning, I am still learning, and X animation is a complicated one. And I'm sure that Amper knows much more than I could know. So yeah, let's open up. Apparently I destroyed my notes. That's fun. Let's just go ahead and open that again real quick. I got another tab up here. It's fine. LM guideline. Go ahead and scroll down to where we are. And this file is on my Discord already, so in case anyone's like, I wish I had that file so I could follow along and understand, it's all there. I guess the only other thing I could touch on again is just the act as values, because the act as value is really what tells the tile how to act. So I could tell you this piranha plant is 12F. Anything that you make 12F will kill Mario. I could take this on-off switch and make it 12F, and then if Mario touches this on-off switch, Mario dies. If you've ever heard the term 1F0, that's actually because 1F0 is the act as value that you use for 1F0. I didn't know that for the longest time, and I was always really confused at what on earth 1F0 meant, but I knew people used it, and I knew that was what people called it, so I didn't argue. The only other thing I could think of real quick to mention while I was on X animation, though, is I've learned do not save your destination slot under anything on page 3. If I were to, a good example of this, I will go ahead and try to show it off real quick. We're going to copy this slot. We're going to paste it into slot 2. But we're going to change the destination here. And we're going to put it on to 300. Now, it looks like it's working. And you animate it, and it's working there and there. So you think this has got to be fine. Everything's got to be great, right? Let's see what happens. And if it doesn't break, I'm gonna laugh, because it broke my game when I tried doing it. Really? This is exactly what I figured. Things that break for me aren't gonna break now. Yeah, when I did this last time, I saved into page 3, and you got some janky graphics all across the middle of the screen. And it was all over, on every single screen. It was on the loading screens. Oh yeah, see, you can see it here. I don't know why it's only in this version. Oh, sometimes it only appears in the level. Oh, I forgot to put that there. That's weird. The shell duplicated. Can I do it again? Sorry, I'm now having fun. I've never seen that. But as you can see, saving it into row 3 or page 3 gives you some unwanted results. So, best thing, don't put anything in there. We're just going to get rid of this slot, because I actually don't need this slot for anything. And now our file looks good again. So, X animation, we already went through all of that. Where are we? Animated palettes. I think that was the next thing I wanted to go over. It's just how to make an animated palette. Just seeing what's going on here. Making sure I'm not missing anything. Destination 200. Yep, that's exactly what we did already. And that's how we got these 2 blocks working right here. So, now let's say you want to make an animated palette. Like this, that's what this tile right here is. You can see it's why it's blinking. But let's say we wanted a tile that went between this dark blue color and this green color. Let's go ahead and make a gradient from that color to this color. Oop, undo that. And then we'll go ahead and paste this blue color on the other side again, and then we're going to gradient it back. And you know, I'm actually going to change one thing about this, just seeing how many blocks I have to work with. We're going to take the blue that we just copied and just move it over one, because I want there to be an odd number of tiles. Oh, see what I mean when I said I always get my hotkeys wrong? So if I believe I put this here, that's 2, and then I can copy that and put that. And you can see there's a 2 tile space between that green and the blue. So we're gonna gradient to gradient, and then gradient to gradient back. Now these tiles don't need to be in here. This is just so I can take the SNES RGB value at the bottom there. I can't really mouse over it, because if I move it, it'll move. But at the very bottom of the palette editor, it says SNES RGB value 4103. That is the hex value of that color. And you can see that, you know, that color and this color are the same. So 4103, 4103. Green is obviously different, and so are each of these colors. But because I gradiented it from here to here, and then this to this color is 1EE6, that's 1EE6. But I just like to visualize it so you can see how we're going to have our animated tile go from this green, or this blue, to the green, back to blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up our animation thing again. It could be in global or level, it doesn't exactly matter, but for the sake of this, we're just going to go with level. So we just chose the next unused slot, slot 2. We're going to go type, and we want to change it to, all the way down here it says palette. Now what's palette plus working, or palette plus working stop on fade, you ask? Good question. I don't have a great answer for that. You could play around with it and get back to me. Let me know how it works. But I can go ahead and select type palette, because we're doing a palette change. And then we can look through the triggers if we wanted the trigger to happen on something. But we just want it to just go. Kind of like this one is right here. It's just going. It's having a good old time. So the number of colors we want to put in here. This is how many tiles inside our palette editor that we want to save it under. Sorry, my buddy came in the room and I was like, wait a second. So we know we only want to take up 1 tile. So what we're going to do to change this 1 tile is we're going to change that to 1. And don't mind me real quick, I actually just have to shut the door on my other... Oh, never mind. One of my bunnies could have got to the second one, but he ran away because he saw me move. So anyways, we want to make 1 color change in here, so we change 1. If I change 2, it would change 2 different colors next to each other. Or 3, or so on. So, frames, I don't believe the frames actually... Oh wait, no, the frames does matter. So, what we're going to do is, let's say we wanted to take exactly this color route. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colors total. And we need it to be 1 more than what we're going to use. So if it's going to be 7 colors total, we're going to go ahead and change this frames to 8. So 1 more than the amount of colors. And then the destination is going to be the palette, I guess, the palette number. So I can mouse over anything. I could change any value here, but let's say I wanted to change specifically, I don't know, let's say we wanted to change, I could even change this one in particular. You know, let's do that. We're going to hit OK just to save this temporarily. We're going to turn off the original game's palette animation. So now it's just that static, but now we can edit it. So back where we were, we're actually going to open up our palette again. we have to open the palette first, just because if you open X animation, if you try to click out of it, it won't let you, except for I guess it'll let you interact with that, which is nice. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to select the destination, and you can see when I mouse over here, it says 6-4, or 6,4. And that's 6,3, 6,5, and so on. That's because it's row 6, or palette 6. And it's the 4th color in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want it to go in 64. That's what it would be called. So now, instead of putting the 8x8 tiles in here like we did for the blocks, what we're going to do is we're going to put in the color values. So that's 4103 versus a SNES RGB value. So we're going to go 4103, then 3204, 1EE6, and then 0FE7, 0FE7, and then after that we know it's just going to repeat backwards. So I can just go 1EE6, 3204, 4103. And with that, I think we should be good, actually. I'm making sure we're good, but I think the next thing is just hit OK. And look at that. We went from that gold color that was vanilla, and now you can see it's changing back and forth from that green to that blue that we just changed. And like I said, these colors don't actually need to be here. If you knew the values of all your colors already, you could just type them in, and I could just take this black and just color over all of this again, and then resave my palette, because that doesn't matter. Those colors don't need to be there. It's just pulling the values, or the color value. So yeah, now you have an animated color. Works fairly simply, or at least I think so. It's a little more simple than the blocks are to understand. Still any other questions from anybody? If everyone's doing good and chilling's good, but I'm just making sure I'm not missing anyone, leaving anyone in the dust. Let's go ahead and open it up and see where we're at. So we did do our colors. Yep, you see, we went through our frames, destination. Yep, we went through all of that. Okay, overworld editing. I want to touch on the overworld a little bit. I am horrible with overworlds. So take everything I have to say with a grain of salt, because I don't know a ton when it comes to overworlds. I'm also going to put this in here because I think this is going to look nicer right there. It doesn't matter where you put that. That tile doesn't mean anything for any reason, but I just think it looks nice there. So overworlds, to start, let's go ahead and make sure I don't skip over anything. I want to make sure I go everything in order here if I can. We want to get to know our overworld icons. So we're going to open our overworld editor, which is right here. You can mouse over it. It says open overworld editor. And by default, it'll probably look a little more like that. Oh, I think it's blue over here usually. I actually don't know why it's not blue, but that's irrelevant. All that matters is you can see here that, you know, this is the map of all the spots in the game. So, let's say, oh yeah. No, we're going to go in order. It's getting to know the icons. So, first off, or we can go ahead and skip over, this is just the revert to last save. Oh, and see, look, there's all our stuff again. Where it went and why it wasn't there in the first place, it's a great question. And I don't know why, but that's okay. It's all here, and that's all that matters. So that just reverts it to the last save, discards any saves, you know. Hot coffee again. How many songs are on SMW Central? How am I getting the same 4 songs I swear on repeat? Anyways. So, next tile over, we got our undo, redo. That's normal, it's the same. Layer 1 16x16 editor. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit to make it a little easier to see with what I'm doing, and I'll just work in this like where we already are in Lunar, like in our, when you start the game. Let's see if I can get it to stop right there. So you can see everywhere in this little square. And my OBS is gone. Boop, there we go. So our first tile here, it just looks like the ghost house, and that is layer 1 16 by 16 editor. We'll go ahead and click that just so I can show it off. And you can see it shows 16 by 16 tiles, and at the very top and bottom of the screen, it tries to select kind of both, because there's only like an 8 by 8 on one side, and it actually doesn't even let me select the bottom two here. Is that the same here? So I guess it just depends on which screen you're on, because this one ends one above it. That one ends directly against the line. So it just depends where you're at. But you can see it's a 16 by 16 tile. And I can't move the overworld. Like if I wanted to move this mountain, it's not going to work. I'm moving nothing. Well, actually, I was moving something there, but I'm not moving that like I wanted to, you know? But what it does move, you could say it moves Yoshi's house. It moves levels. It moves, I guess you can also call that a level, but it'll move the castle. I think it'll move, yep, the sign. And when I said this was moving something, you can move the clouds with this. And all the editing modes work a lot like, you know, they work in the regular Lunar Magic screen, where I could just hit left click and then right click and it pastes. It all works about the same there, so I can be like, I want more clouds. Give me more clouds, more clouds. I could take that and put it next to that so it makes sense. And then, do I have an end of a cloud? Can I just take that and, nope, that looks ugly. It doesn't matter. So that's layer 1. Layer 1 event mode. So there are events. And I can kind of cover events in a little bit. I don't know events and how to use them very much, but what an event is like, actually, can I hit up and down? I think it is to change the events. I think it's page up and down. Yeah, so, you know, when you beat this level normally, in like a vanilla Super Mario world, that unlocks the pathway to go up here. So triggering event 1, I can hit page up to do that, and then you can see it changes the like mountains get taller, the pathway goes up, and it opens. So when you beat this level, it triggers event 1, I think it is, or maybe it's event 2. I'm assuming this is how you're able to change some of the event tiles, although to be honest, I never worked making my own custom event or anything, so I don't exactly know how that part works. Next tile over, we have layer 2, 8 by 8 editor mode. So it's 8 by 8 instead of 16 by 16, as you can see. And this is how you actually change like the overworld, like the background, I guess. So like I could click and drag and I can move, and you can see it takes everything there. And you can move all the tiles you wanted. I could copy this everywhere I wanted. I could make a new mountain. I can make that into a dick, so that's great. It's all great. So that's layer 2 editing, 8 by 8 editing. Layer 2 8 by 8 event mode. I'm gonna guess it works fairly similar to the other one, but for 8 by 8 tiles. Again, as someone who has never worked in the 8 by 8 editor mode, or with a, not 8 by 8 editor mode, as someone who has never done events, I don't know too much about it. I wish I could cover that more, but instead we're going to move on. The sprite editor mode is how you move sprites. So a sprite in this instance would be like Mario's a sprite, and you can see Luigi's actually down there too. The smoke from Yoshi's house is a sprite. If I could go to a different page here, you could see this Boo is a sprite. There's a couple other sprites around. I think these stars might be sprites. No, I lied. Those stars are not sprites. Oh, that guy's a sprite. So I can move that around. But yeah, it's just a sprite editor. Next, we have our 8 by 8 overworld tile selector. And just to show it off better, I'm going to go into 8x8 editing mode, because that makes sense, the 8x8 and 8x8. When you open this, it's going to show you all your overworld tiles. And it'll default to wherever you last clicked for its palette. So like this is Yoshi's Island because I'm on Yoshi's Island. I don't know why that one's a different palette and it repalettes everything. That's a little interesting, but like I said, overworlds are finicky. I don't know a lot. So, but like I can click over here and it makes everything dark and it changes to Bowser's Valley. Click over here and it changes to overworld map. Yeah, as you can see. And then all of these tiles are what builds up this. And thankfully there is sort of a way to kind of tell what you're doing. Like if I wanted to find this tile right here, I want to find the top left of this mountain eye. If I click it, you can see it actually highlights it right here for me. I think I can hit Control Plus on this to make it bigger if I wanted. Just so you guys can all see. And you can see when I click around, it actually selects that tile for me. So I can tell which tile is which. And then otherwise, it's just build what you like. I wish I knew a better way to work with this to make it look nicer. But like if I wanted to throw this P-switch here, I could throw that P-switch there. If I wanted to put the moon here, I could put the moon here. If I wanted to change the palette of the moon, doesn't want to change the palette. I don't have a good reason for that. And this is one of those things like I'm just... Yep. See, like I said, overworld's finicky. But you could take any of the spots here, I could put it there. I could take and make this is now a 5 instead of a 1. Whatever you'd like. So that's the 8x8 overworld tile selector. We have our layer 1 16x16 selector. So just like that, we're going to go back to our 16x16 mode. Open our 16x16 tile selector, and you can see we have like P-switch level, or not P-switch, switch palace levels. We have our level icons for secret exits and normal exits. We have castles, pipes, you know, all your usual kind of stuff. And that's how, like, if I wanted to put in more levels, I could be like a level, a level, a level, a level. We're gonna have so many levels. There's so many levels here. But we don't need that. But that's how you could place levels on your overworld map. Or like the star. That's the star without it being hidden. I assume you need like an event to make that maybe pop up. Another instance of me not knowing everything about the overworld. But you can see the things that are lit up make sense. And there's actually the signs again. So it looks like you can access the signs in 8x8 or 16x16 mode. And then scroll down and you can see all this, and that's essentially all you need to know for this part for right now. If we were to click Layer 2 Event Tile Selector, this brick pulls up this window. I know nothing about this window. I know that if you have it, and then you go into the what is it, Layer 2 Event Mode, sorry, that one. Now you'll paste whatever you're selecting. Now, what are you selecting exactly, and why is it huge? I have no clue. Another instance of I wish I had a better answer here. Although here are some spots that do make sense, actually, looking at it. Right here is probably how you animate, I'm gonna guess, how you, like, make tiles pop up, like the ladders and stuff. If I wanted the ladder to go when you beat something, you'd probably want to use that. Probably being the keyword. Your palette editor works exactly the same as your palette editor in normal mode. There's not much to say there. It's a palette editor. We have our zoom. It's just zoom. You can use that to zoom in and out. I use control and scroll, but you could use that. That's your animations. Does the same thing as the other one. It stops the animations. View Layer 1 Mario Paths. This is one I do know how to use, and this is important. I'm going to click it, and you get all these kind of finicky looking green lines everywhere. And it's all over. These are all Mario's paths. So if you want Mario to move, And if I wanted to change that up, I could actually select it. You can see it's part of the 16 by 16 editor mode. So if I wanted to make a custom path, I could be like, we're gonna go up, 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 and then we're gonna take a hard turn, and we can kind of do whatever we wanted with that and make a custom path for Mario to go. And then the way you can select all these paths, if you wanted to select it other than just like clicking on it, is you can go over here to, I believe it's your 16 by 16 selector window, because we're in 16 by 16 mode. Oh, not that one. There we go. And you can see actually by toggling here, you can actually see how it affects all the tiles here. But really what you need to know is just that all of these spots, these are all your tiles for making your directions and stuff. And you can kind of mess around. As you can see, this tile doesn't line up perfectly with these tiles. They don't need to line up perfectly. As long as they line up more or less, you're fine. And I'm going to guess that there's something here that has to do with the animation, where I bet you if I were to change this animation to go up, it changes the walkway here to go from dark to light. I'm gonna bet you that makes it so you can walk there. I don't exactly know, hence I don't use animations, and I don't really know. Or, events. But you can create your custom pathway that way. So we can go ahead and turn that off just to make it less ugly. We have our quick insert GFX, which works just the same as the same mushroom here. It's the exact same thing. This would be your graphics files for your overworld, same as the other one, which you can open up in YYCHR again and be like, oh, what's this? Let's change it to a, oh yeah, see, there's all our 8x8 editing tiles. So if I actually wanted to change this up myself, I could add little angry faces on all of these, and then if I were to do that, in fact, can we do that? That sounds kind of fun. Let's make all those angry. That's a horrible angry. Can I make that second one a little better? I just kind of want to copy this one. I want to go boop, 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 boop. Oh gosh, I almost had it. I'm spending too much time on this, but it looks great. Don't tell me otherwise. We can go ahead and hit save. Or we could save it as and change it to another graphics file, but I know it doesn't matter in this case. And then because I did that, if I were to go in here and hit quick insert so it fixes everything again, I figured that would fix it. So let's just exit out of that and reopen it. No? If I were to open 1C again, change it to our right color, it does look angry. I'm actually at a loss a little bit about that one, but that's okay. This is again one of those spots of I don't exactly understand how all the overworld stuff works. You'd think that makes sense. I put in the graphics, I've changed the graphics, I've reinserted the graphics, but they haven't changed. Sub-map layer 3, how you make layer 3 changes. Again, I don't know too much about layer 3 in the overworld, but it's there. If there's a way to change it, that's how you do it. I'm just kind of pressing buttons to see if there's anything else I could teach you here. Like I can see actually if I, oh, not 2. If I press F2, you can see where it says 0, 1, 3, 4 and stuff around Mario. Those are the event numbers. So you can tell event number 1 does all of this stuff. Event number 0 does something with Yoshi's house out of that, I'd expect. And that's by pressing F2. F1 shows the level numbers. So like we could see we changed this one to level 2, and that's why that one says 2, while everything else around it is like 105, 104, whatever. I recommend just kind of messing around with all your keys. I just pressed F4. F3, it looks like it changes the Special World palette. So if you beat Special World, it'd go back and look like that. I have no idea what those numbers mean. But yeah, exactly what I mean. Lots of stuff. these tiles here are actually specific to your layer 1 16 by 16 editor mode, hence why they ungrade now that I clicked that. And I click this, it says one tile must be selected to use this. So I'll use this tile as an example. So we're in 16 by 16, the one where we can move our levels around. And if I were to select this level and click this first one, it says Open Modify Level Tile Settings. We can click that, and it says level number to use for this tile. So that's the level that you enter when you go into this. So when I said we saved that as level 2, and then we can go back to our Lunar Magic where we are working. If I were to change to level 2, we could see that when we enter that level, we enter here, which we know it does because we've done that already. Go back to our overworld. Base event for when above level is passed. So when this level is beaten right here, event number 3 is going to pass. Like I said, I don't know too much about how events work, but I do know that when you beat this level, event number 3 is gonna pass. So that's the part I could tell you. Then you can see direction to enable when normal exit is used. So once you beat the normal exit, you go up. When secret exit 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, so if you could have up to 4 exits in theory in a level, and if you did, you could select different directions for each of them. Yeah. And then initial set level setting flags. So like if I wanted to make it an open overworld so you don't need to beat anything, but I also don't want to give you like a completed file, I could just enable all of these on all the tiles. And if I just hit those, then it changes the initial level settings, so I don't need to beat the level. By default, you could already just go left, right, up, and down, assuming there's a pathway available. The level has been passed. I could pretty much make it act as if you've already beaten the level, even if you hadn't. Midway point obtained, so if you wanted to start at the midway point instead of starting at the start of the level, you could do that. No entry if level passed. That's like how Switch Palaces, once you beat them, you can't go back into them. So if you check that, that'd make it so your level can't go back into it after you beat it. And then save prompt, I assume that makes it so you can either save on it when you first go over it, or maybe it does save. I actually haven't used that, but you can play around with it. I'm sure you'll figure it out. And then down here is just one other spot that has to do with events. So I'm just going to skip over that because, again, I don't know events too well. If you really want to know events well, I'd recommend checking over on SMW Central in the tutorials section. It's not going to be a video, but you're going to likely find someone who's written up a pretty good description of exactly how this all works, and they'll know a lot more than me. So next, we have destroy level tile settings. A switch palace, fortress, or the top tile of a castle must be selected. So we'll choose the top tile of a castle, and you can see that event number to destroy this level tile on. So it destroys this tile, so the level goes away when you do event number 6. So another instance of like, if I wanted to make a level where like I made my own custom castle or something and I wanted it to go away, I'd have to set the exact event number so that the event would happen after you beat it. And then have to change the event here so that, you know, this one you can see you beat level 6. It triggers event 6, which destroys the tile. I feel like that makes sense. Open select teleport or set location teleport. So this would let you teleport between locations, I believe. And this is used the same table of stars and pipes. So I'm not exactly sure how it works exactly, to be honest, but I believe this is how you could set, so like you could have it teleport for secondary exits and levels. So I'm betting if you've got the secondary exit, it could teleport you to a different tile. So I can make it so like if you beat the secondary exit, it would send you to one of these other different spots. And you could probably pick them or edit them. I bet you there's probably a way. Again, I've never used that. but that's where that button does. And then linking stars and pipes. So if I wanted to like link this star, you can see that these are the two stars that are linked. And it would probably be able to tell you exactly like where the other star is. So if you wanted to hook up two different stars and you want to make two different overworlds, so you go into like you beat this level, you get a star, you go into the star, and then it takes you over here. You could hook up those two stars together. In fact, no, I don't. Another tile I've never used, but I understand that's how it works. Edit boss sequence text. This is where you could change the text of after you beat a boss. So in case you want like some fun after castle text, this is where you change that. Edit info box or message box. So this is where you change the info boxes for each of your levels. And you can see it says like 0001, 0002, 001, 1, 001, 2. So each level has 2 info boxes. And actually another good way I could show you that is if we go into our level. I know an info box is a sprite, so we're going to go into sprite editing mode. We're just going to type in info to find it quickly. And you can paste it, and you can see it has a 1 up here. That's because it's using message number 1 for level 105. But if I move it over 1 tile, now it has a 2. So depending on where you place that block, it's going to show you a different message. And you can tell which message based on that number. And then you can, type whatever you'd like here. You can actually also click things here, and it would, you could just click them in. And you actually, yep, you can draw tiles and stuff. You can do whatever you wanted down there. Anyways. And edit level names. That's how you change the level names. So, like, we know we have, level 105 is where we have been working on. I could change Yoshi Island name to, Forest of Green and Blue stuff. And though you can see it actually cuts off after and. I do know there is an ASM you can get that'll actually make it so this is bigger and you can store larger names. But if I want to name it, Green, Blue, Forest. That works. We could save that. And then we'll just hit save. So now next time we load it in, it'll be called Green, Blue, Forest. And that was for level 105 we changed. Again, I can hit F1 and see this is level 105. So when we go over this level, that's what it's going to be called. Then we just have like edit sprites list. Shows you about all the sprites in the game that you're using. Another instance of I've never used them, but I know that's about the gist of that. We have our music for our overworld music. So like this is Yoshi's Island is where this section is. So if I change the overworld music, it actually won't change the overworld music for right here. It only changes it for up here, because that's where the main overworld is. If I wanted to make Yoshi's Island, and we could just use the same song we used Megalovania in the song, we could put that there. Now when we go to here, it's gonna sound like Megalovania. And then we have X animation tiles, global animation tiles, and animation settings. And these are all roughly the same as they are for the level settings. I've never actually used them on the overworld. The only difference is you can select which submap you're on. But otherwise, it at least is set up the same. So that's the bare bones for an overworld. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here that I wanted to point out. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I pretend I know a lot about the overworld, because I don't. I have most of my overworlds I've made have been very, very bare bones, because all I care about is getting to the level and making sure it works. So like, let's go ahead and build something real custom real quick. So what I can do here is, let's say we wanna trash most of this. We can just trash all of this. I'm saving this block right here so we can use it in a sec. But then we want to go to layer 1 16 by 16 just to get rid of all our 16 by 16 tiles. want to go into event editor mode, you can see there's a level here that actually becomes visible after an event. So we can get rid of that. Nothing here in that mode. And then there's the sprite for this boo. We can get rid of... Oh, we actually can't delete that, but I could drag it here. Now we can see a boo on our overworld. That's fine. That lives there. So now... Well, oh yeah, it's because I'm in sprite mode. Change it back to 8x8. And I could take that and just put it all down there. And let's say I want to use this tile, I could draw a couple of these. Right now I'm not making it look too pretty. I'm just kind of showing you this is how it works. And then when you drag things over it, it just kind of loses what's underneath it. But you can just redo that. Let's say I wanted to grab a pathway so it looks nice, because Mario doesn't have to move on the pathways. The pathways are aesthetics. Aesthetics, yes. They're aesthetic. So I could put that there. Let's say I want to have some of these tiles around our normal area. So actually, I'm just going to move this for a sec. I'm going to spread this down. I'll put this over here. And then let's say we want to put one more right here. There we go. Look at that. We have the base of the overworld. Oh, let me read this from Nyx. You can delete the sprite via the menu overworld, edit sprite list, and set the correct slot to 0, nothing. Ah! So, menu overworld, which I believe it's up here, but you can also see that from down here. So edit sprite list is probably in here, I bet. Yeah, edit sprite list. Just to show off that Nyx is saying the right thing. You can also go overworld, edit sprite list. Yep, same thing. And I could say the ghost was the one we wanted to remove. If I wanted to get rid of that, I could probably find which ghost this is and just change it to nothing. Yep, and there goes our overworld ghost. Thank you, Nyx. That makes sense. I just never really messed around with that. I'm also gonna just draw that one more down. I just want that to be more even. Where your aesthetics are, what they do, it all means nothing. It's all just what you want your aesthetics to look like. Oh yeah, those are 16 by 16 technically. I was gonna copy over this. I still can. I'm just gonna bring that over here. That's fun. That's a fun symbol. But now we want to put our levels here. So let's say we want a Yoshi house and our level. Because that's kind of like a standard hack thing, is usually start on a Yoshi house. You don't have to, but a lot of people do. So we'll take our Yoshi house. We'll move it down right here. And you can see sometimes it lines up on the tile perfectly. Sometimes you have to take your 8x8 tiles and kind of move them around to make it work, because it's a 16 by 16. So if your 8x8s are off by one 8x8 block, then it's just not going to line up. Like, I think that's good, though. Then we could take our level and paste it. Ah, see? Exactly. This is one 8x8 off. So we're just going to take our whole 8x8 and we'll just move it up one. And then we're just going to fill that gap. And I think the Yoshi house is supposed to be there. I think we got it right. As long as it's in line with this, it should be good. But now there's no path. Although I've drawn the path, if we were to go draw the path editor, there's no path between these two dots. And I can make it really convoluted and long if I wanted, or I could draw it right in between it. But if I want it to be fun, I can make it go, let's go right, and then we want to make it swerve upwards. How are we going to do that? We need something that kind of looks something like that. Will probably work into this. And I'm just kind of guessing here. A lot of these tiles, like I said, they don't need to look very nice. As long as they kind of more or less line up, it'll work. Usually, anyways. I'm just trying to see if there's any kind of fun, convoluted mess I can make here. And I could make these ones line up a little more, just for the sake of they can, because it's actually right here. And you can see that lines up. It doesn't matter though. Then let's move it down. And connect. We can go ahead and save that. So now instead of having a connection right between them, there's not. Or if I really wanted, I could actually also just put one connection between it. But that doesn't make it so you can actually move. Oh, I actually kind of got rid of these slots. Good to know. We're just going to get rid of that image. I think I may have just deleted something on accident too. Let me turn on our... No, we're good. It's probably because those tiles right here that I have stole from over here were 16 by 16 tile. And these tiles that are the paths are also 16 by 16 tiles. So you could probably only have one kind of over the other, you know? But yeah, so it all more or less makes sense. But now we need to make sure that we can actually move that direction. So we're going to go on the Yoshi house. And by default, it has left and right enabled. Which if you look at here, left and right are all we need, actually. So that's good. That Yoshi house is actually set for us. But let's say over here, initial level, you can't go any directions. Let's say we want to make it so you can go right, but you can't go left. We do want it to be level 105. That's our level. Event doesn't matter for us. And direction when normal exit is used. Let's go ahead and make that. Let's make that left. So now I believe we should have most of our stuff set up. The only thing we need to do to make sure our overworld actually works with us is we need to move Mario. So Mario is a sprite. We go to sprite mode. And we're going to want to put him right over that Yoshi house. And we can put Luigi there too. We can put the Yoshi house smoke. Although the smoke, apparently the graphics files don't load on this screen. Do not fill with more than one slot as additional smoke sprites will appear. Nope, I got nothing on that one. You could probably figure out something here. But honestly, yeah, smoke times 2. I don't exactly know why it doesn't. Like, maybe if I went here and put in smoke times 2. No, see? Just another example of I don't exactly know why it works on this screen and not on that one. Overworld. It's fun. We'll go ahead and save that. Oh, and let's say we wanted this one to be Megalomania. This screen, we could actually find out fairly easily by hitting our 8x8 selector and our 8x8 thing, and when we click, it says it's Vanilla Dome. So I know this section is Vanilla Dome. So open our music. We'll go to Vanilla Dome, and we're going to change Vanilla Dome music to also Megalovania. Save. And make sure there's not something I missed here that I wanted to go over. We moved some stuff around. We built some stuff. Yep, we used our tiles. Yoshi house. Initial level flags. Yep, this is all good. So yeah, now we should be good on that portion. And we're actually almost at the end of this tutorial series. I hope everyone's excited. I'm excited. I still have to edit it all. I started the editing process on part 1 today, actually. So hopefully sometime soon, TM, we'll have it. Hopefully next week we'll at least have part 1 on YouTube. But yeah, from here, we're just going to go ahead and exit out. We're done with our overworld. We've hit save. Everything should be good. We're going to hit save again here too, because I trust nothing, and it said it needed to be saved. Let F4 to load in. Let me go ahead and mute this for a sec, so just so you can hear that everything is working. I'm not hearing anything. I bet you, for some reason, my computer likes to mute SMW sometimes. Not the volume. Oh yeah, the volume mixer. No. Interesting. I probably messed with something that I have no clue. Because I'm not getting any audio from that. probably had to do, let's just go back to our overworld editing real quick. Check. Did I change anything to no music on accident? That's interesting. We're not going to worry about that right now, though. The no music on the overworld, or on the home screen, doesn't exactly matter. We're going to make a new file. We'll get through here. Oh, there's just no audio coming out at all. Is everything okay in my settings? Not core options. Let me just check it real quick. I'm sure something is afoot. Audio, output. I don't know what any of this really means. Device. That's so weird. And just to check, if I were to open up my ROM in here, which there's my intro screen that I love. I haven't changed the overworld movement, so it looks real ugly, but there you can look at just the title screen of whatever I'm building. But something is afoot. We're gonna load our ROM one more time here, and I'm gonna mess around with some settings because I'd like there to be music. Call me crazy. I'll give it another second. If I can't figure the music out, it's not the biggest deal. It's not the end of the world for this tutorial. That's just sound, and there's something up with my emulator, and it's not with the ROM. So I know it's not necessarily something that I did wrong in Lunar Magic. It's something that's up with my computer, and I don't know what's going on with it recently. I just did sound settings. I'm going to sound mixer. Let me open this, make sure I'm not missing something in the chat. Now we're good. Because our retro arc is set good. Output did nothing. And nothing. That's so weird. One more thing I'm just going to test. I don't know if it'll fix anything, break anything. Just open RetroArch without using that. Just open something like Endeavor. I know Endeavor has sound. I've listened to the sound in Endeavor. That's so weird. If anyone has an idea for what's going on there, I would love your fix, because it's definitely something with my emulator or my computer. And it's, you can see it's still working if I turn on like the sound and an internet tab, so it's definitely something to do with the emulator. That's a weird one. Hot coffee again. You know what? We're gonna let hot coffee go this time, or hot drinks. So we're just gonna pretend that to be a hot drinks as the soundtrack for this. That's fine. Don't worry about the music. The music was obviously something's afoot. But now when we open up our new overworld, oh, there we are. We are at Yoshi's house. We didn't change Yoshi's house, so it looks all the same. And then, so we made it so we can go left and right. Just like we said, and there's our green-blue forest, like I said we named it. Now let's go ahead and tap right. Remember that really janky path we made? It still works. Remember how we made it so we couldn't go left here? Oh. We can. Another one of those instances of Lunar Magic's fun. There's probably a setting I could change to fix that. But otherwise we can go in here. Here's our level. Our block kills us. All our animations work. Our sticky ceiling appears to not be sticky for whatever reason. And not hit my head on it? No, I definitely hit my head on that. Did I change something in our map 16? That's weird too. I'm gonna load this one more time. We'll move on in just a second, because I'm just troubleshooting at this point. Ah, here's why. This got changed to 25 somehow. Or, 130 somehow. When in doubt, make it 25. Oh, that's weird. That had something to do with the fact that we loaded our state. It messed up our overworld in our one that was already open. But now you can see overworld a little broke, but our sticky ceiling works correct. We have our custom sprites. All is good. Oh, that's kind of fun. I actually didn't know that. If you kick a shell, it just kind of goes whoop at the end there. So, that's the end of everything I know about overworld editing. The only other thing I really wanted to note here before we touched or are done with the overworld is if you want to edit the title screen, not the title screen level, but the title screen like the title, you're going to go to, in your overworld editor, File, Title Screen, Load Title Screen, and I'll scroll all the way up so you can see it, and boom, here's Super Mario World. I could take out the Mario portion of this if I really wanted to, and let's just delete it, and then I can make it Super World. TM. Nintendo. There we go. Beautiful. And if I wanted to actually mess with it, if you open up your 8x8 editor, you can see all the the individual things. That's how when I was able to change mine to say Alyssa at the bottom, I just was able to write it out and then change it in your palette to whatever colors you want them to be. And then you could also I can move these things around. I could retile them. Another fun part with gradients and stuff, I could just change this color to green. Let's change this one to red, pinkish, and then we'll gradient this to this. That looks horrid. Can I pick a different color? Can we make it anything else but that? That's a little better. That hurts my eyes. That's great. That's betterish. Good enough. Congrats. We have now changed our overworld to now our title screens. Now if we boot up our game. Boop. There it is. Super World. TM by Nintendo. But you can see it doesn't actually change the level that everyone's playing. Or not everyone, but the title screen is. And the actual level the title screen is, I don't know an easy way to describe how to know which one it is, other than it's level C7. You go to here, go to C7. And this is the level that is used on the title screen. I could change things, I could just move it all around, I could do whatever I wanted to this, and it would affect the title screen. But the title screen movement does not change. The way the Mario moves is coded into there. So, changing how Mario moves on the overworld, or not on the overworld, on the title screen is a little more difficult. Like what I said when I booted up my ROM here. You can go here and see, come on, Mario's jumping around and moving. All I know is I placed invisible blocks around Mario because I didn't want Mario to move around and just die, because when you die in the overworld it causes some glitches. Or not overworld again, I don't know why I keep saying overworld. But if you die on the front page there, it'll cause some glitches. So I just put some blocks around it. But there's a patch if you just want no movement on the overworld. Or if you do want movement on your overworld, you actually get to hard code that in yourself. let's get rid of this tab mark. We don't need that. So let's go and open our overworld editor. We can hit this button to go back to the actual overworld portion. But if we wanted to change the title screen movement, you can see where it says install title screen or title moves playback ASM and data. So you have to install a moving recording ASM. You have to record your movements in your own gameplay, so you actually have to play it yourself and do it, and then insert it yourself back in. I've never done that, so I'm not going to be able to show you exactly how it works, but I know that's the process. That you need to essentially do it yourself, and then you can save it, put it here, and then I'll make it so that's how it works. I assume the credit screen also works fairly similarly if you wanted to use the vanilla credit screen. I think most people at this point make a custom credit screen, but, you know, here's your vanilla credits if that's what you wanted. Is that really all the credits in Mario Maker? Or not Super Mario World? It's been so long since I've seen it, but like, hacks have more people that work on them than this. We don't need to save it, it's fine. So yeah. Title screen, level C7, and I believe C5. Yeah, this is the little screen you get when you start a new level or a new file. So if I wanted to put some more ground up here, put a couple berries flying around, something weird and obviously not normal, put that there. I just closed out of my game. Let's just go back. Open in Lunar Magic. But now, Super World. Let's go ahead and make a new file, and you can see this little title screen here is all kinds of messed up. But that's also how you could change, I believe it's this message box. I think it has to do with the message box that has been used in C5 here. So let's see if I find level C5, where are you? Maybe I can't even find it through there. That's alright. We're just gonna pretend it worked. Let's see, final notes and other things. Yes, I wanted to touch on how sprite graphics work. That was the last thing I kind of wanted to really touch on here, and this actually is, I think, the last thing I had in here. So, great timing. So, when we can get out of the overworld, we're done with the overworld. Well, I wanted to show off, so sprites. If you were to go into your sprite window here, we talked about how toggling this button shows you things that are, very janky and things don't look right. They'll always work right, but the graphics won't look right. Like, that's not what a Lakitu or like a fishing boo looks like. That's not what a thwomp looks like. But you can see at the top it says SP4 equals 3. If we were to go in here and change our SP4 from 20 to 3, and then go back to our sprites again, there's our thwomp, and it looks great. But let's say we really wanted our SP4 to be 20 because, I don't know, what sprites are in the SP4 or SP20. We could change it over to a good color so we can see what we're looking at. So yeah, the example I wanted to use is Rexes. What if we want to use Rexes? If we change it off of SP4 as 20, then we're going to lose access to our Rexes. They won't look right. But let's say we want a Rex and a Thwomp. Thankfully, they're fairly easy to do, just because of where they're loaded. So we can go to SP3, set that for a second, and then we'll go and edit that in Lunar, or in the YYCHR, set it to 4BP, change it to a color that looks okay. And you can see, here's the Thwomp, here's the Thwomp spaces, and here's your Rex. So let's say I wanted to use like the ball and chain, like everything else that's here looks fine, but I really wanted the Rex in my level. Well, as long as I don't need to use anything where the Rex is, like you can see that, you know, this tile right here is this tile. That tile here is that tile. So whatever we paste over, we're going to lose access to those sprites because we're going to write over the graphics there, and it's not going to look okay anymore. But like, let's say we don't need any of these four, or this, and we're not planning on using the fish at all. So in that case, you can copy, just right-click, stretch, paste, or Control-C. And thankfully, you can just come over to this other window, select the top left corner, Control-Paste. And then we need this graphic as well if we want everything to work right. So now, because it's all in the same space, in the same exact spots within the graphics slot, we now have that. So now we can go ahead and I'm going to hit Save As, and we'll make it, we'll put in our EXGFX folder, we'll name it 95. So EXGFX 95, save. No, we don't need to expand. And we should be done with these. So we can just exit out of both of those. Go ahead and insert to put in that new EXF file, EXGFX. We're going to go to SP4, change it to 95, that one we just made. So now, a good example would be like when we knew bullet bill or bonsai bills were on SP20, or SP4 equals 20. So if we were to go over here and look at bonsai bill, we'll find it. Sometimes the vanilla name for things are a little different. Bonsai bill, there we go. I probably just misspelled it. So that's what the bonsai bill looks like now. So we know that our SP4 is not 20. Yep, that's okay. We're not using bonsai bill. What we wanted was Rexes and Thwomps. So if we type in Rex, there's our Rex. Our Rex looks great. Our Rex works perfectly. We could put him in here and that he's gonna act just like a Rex would. And then we want Thwomp. And look at that, now we have Thwomps. So if you remember right, when we were on SP4 equals 20, or no, it was XP4 equals 3. That's the one that Rexes are usually on. Oh no, that's the one Thwomps are usually on, sorry. So you can see the Thwomp looks right, the Rex does not. Change it to 20, the Rex looks good, the Thwomp does not. But because we made that custom one that had them both in the right spot, we can go back to 95 and we have Rexes and Thwomps and they both look good. There is an ASM for, I believe it's dynamic sprite system, to be able to use like multiple sprites from different slots together. I've actually never used it myself, so I don't know too much about how it works. But yeah, I could say here, we can hit save. I'm just gonna move this guy over here and this guy up here, just to get him out of our way. Go into our level. Go ahead and load. Go in. Here's our level. Everything's working. You can see there's our sprite up there. Our Rex looks like a Rex, acts like a Rex. And our Thwomp looks like a Thwomp and acts like a Thwomp. It did look like, maybe I'm nuts, but let's just take a look. It looked like the killing animation for the Rex looked a little off. So like that looks good, but then it changes to like a thwimp for just a second. We can test what that is. So we know SP4 equals 20 was the one that we originally had. And then SP4 equals 90. Oh, not that one. Oh gosh, that was 21E. Sorry. This was 95. I need to open this one too. So we know that when we kill the Rex, it turns into like a thwimp at the very end. So what we can do to kind of find out what's going on is we can look at both of these. Look at where the graphics for thwimps are. So it's right here. And actually now that I look there, you can see there's a couple graphics right here. Right in the left, this one and this one. those two, I believe, belong to the Rex. That's how they draw the Rex's graphics. So if I paste that there now, we can go ahead and save, exit out of there, save that. Oh wait, I didn't insert the graphics. Ha ha ha. Now we'll go ahead and resave it. Let's just go ahead and move something, save it. Now if we were to go into here, we can kill the Rex. Looks good, and it looks good. We did lose access to our flint block since we had to write over it. And if we wanted that flint block back, we would have to get rid of that spot of the Rex. So you might have to make some sacrifices on which sprites you want to use. But that's kind of how you can mix and match your sprite graphics files, as long as they're within the same location within each graphics file. You can copy and move them all around. Like I could take this Chuck and move it to another spot, or the Yoshi A, you know, kind of whatever I wanted to do, as long as it's in the exact same spot in the other graphics file within it, it could work. If you wanted to move it and change where it's at, you have to do, I believe, some custom code, so that way you can tell it where to load the graphics from. And I don't know how to do that code myself, but that's kind of the gist of that. So yeah, that was how we did all of that. We went over all of that. And yeah, I believe that is officially about everything I know about Lunar Magic. We went over custom music, custom blocks, custom ASM, custom patches, custom tiles, drawing custom graphics, making our own custom block with Block Creator. We've kind of went over a lot of stuff here, and most of it was fairly in order to what I wrote here. I know this is a really long document, and there's a lot of stuff that written here, so if I didn't explain something great, you can always refer back. If you have any questions, you can always contact me, Discord, Twitch, whatever. There's much smarter people out there, but I'm just saying, if you feel like you're nervous, you don't want to reach out to Amper because you don't know them, and you are like, you can message me. I'll do my best for you. I'll tell you if I don't know it. But yeah, that is officially everything I know. With that, you had the bare bones to make whatever you want. For reference, like the last level I made, that was pretty big and took a long amount of work. We got like the first screen, leads you into here, all kinds of stuff. And you could do all of this. You have the abilities, you have it at your fingertips. So go make some cursed content, tag me in it, post it in my Discord, make me play it. I want to play your levels.